welcome to week 5, day 1. I did that every single time as well, to the OPL. Hello everybody, I am Jake Spawn-Tiveri. Joining me on the desk for tonight's matchup is Indiana Frosker in black and Julian Pastry Time Car. Guys, how's your start of the week been so far?
Day what is it?
It is day 1, week 5.
Got it. It's excellent.
I agree. The start of day 1, aka Monday, has been absolutely excellent, Spawn.
Oh, God. This is... All right. Well, let's take a look at the standings and I guess get the lay of the land. In this week 5, day 1, as we kick it off, it will be Legacy and Direwolves still at the top, undefeated, followed by Chiefs and Hellions to round out our top 4. Sin, Avant, Infernum all on 1 win each. And Trident still searching for that first win. Want to throw this one out there. Obviously, the place to look is the top of the standings. Legacy, Direwolves, 2 undefeated teams. How have we thought they look so far?
Great, to be honest. Like, super aggressive. Definitely just getting in there and playing some exciting League of Legends. For me, I think they're both undefeated. They're looking very strong. There's potential for the early game to go a little bit too crazy, but in general, should be a really fun best of 3.
Keyword for me there is aggressive. The fact that it's Direwolves and King, or not King, excuse me, Direwolves and Legacy. King, the AD carry, formerly of the Direwolves, now of Legacy. I'm really excited to see him just go off to his old core, hardcore roots on his old team.
Well, we certainly get to see that because let's take a look at the week ahead tonight. It is going to be Avant-Garde taking on Hellions. Tomorrow, the first of our doubleheaders is Infernum versus Chiefs. Before our OPL Legend Match champions, Direwolves taking on top spot Legacy. Before Sin will face off against Trident as Trident tries to win their first game of the split. That is going to be an absolutely massive game tomorrow night. We already mentioned it a little bit. I want to get a teaser in here because unfortunately we won't have Frosk on the desk. Frosk, if you had to say who was going to win that one, who would it be?
Between Legacy and Direwolves?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with Legacy simply because I just think right now they've got so many performing key components that they're just more consistent across the board. Carbon's having an incredible split so far. I mean, we've seen him styling on people, flashing over walls into red, dodging Malphite ults with Repel, so I'm going to have to go to Legacy, the tree power, Legatree.
Well, there we go. We've already got one Legacy fan, but we do have a game tonight, guys, so let's jump straight into that one. It is going to be Avant versus Hellions. Hellions starting on the red side as we pull their roster up. It is going to be Ryu in the top lane, Cookie, their jungler, Bomb in the mid lane, Frey and Denian are their bot lane duo. This is a team that is currently sitting 4th, and I ask it every single time. No one has very much faith in them. Are they the 4th place team yet?
I mean, technically, yes, but are they, the 4th place team as far as play goes? Not yet for Hellions. They're growing really well. They've rapidly improved, like, week upon week. I think they're an exciting team, but for me, they're not quite there yet for playoff caliber.
I mean, the big issue is consistency, which is effectively what Pastry Time's talking about. I mean, we've seen such kind of an up and down performance from Hellions. Like you said, they're growing into their own, so they're starting to ramp together. Those 5v5s are becoming a little bit more cohesive, but until they can solidify themselves, upsets can happen, and they can stumble on the back half of the split.
Yeah, and talking about upsets, we had one on the first day of the OPL. It was these teams. We'll pull up the side that did upset the Hellions. It is going to be Avant. Starting on the blue side, Malaz, their top laner, Chelby, their jungler, Wrecked in the mid lane, Stark, the AD carry, and Destiny moving to support. However, guys, for game 1 at least, it will be Destiny in the mid lane, Stark, AD carry, and Blind Turkey, who was moved to a substitute position, starting in support because Wreck cannot make it to the game, can't play. This is a strange kind of move to me because Avant came into the season very, very confident. Is this the right time to start mucking around with the roster?
I mean, I think it's really a suboptimal time, actually, to be making moves around the roster. It's almost the middle of the season. Your players are starting to get settled. Your roster's getting settled. I know Avant have Triple, their mid laner, who's not yet of age to play and will be in about 2 weeks, who they're looking forward to. But for me, Destiny was playing great. Yes, Stark's this solo queue talent. We haven't seen him play yet. Be curious to see how he does. But honestly, like, this is the worst time to make changes. Some of these were, like, unforced, with Rek not being able to play at least for game 1. But for me, like, why make changes now? I guess I must trust in these players.
Yeah, it certainly does to be that case. And of course, Destiny going back to that support position, he is the main focal point because they said a lot to do with the shot calling. There have been some great AD carry shot callers in the past, however.
We were talking about this in between the break, and I brought up Wei Zhao to much of Spawn's disinterest. Yeah. But yeah, there's been a lot of great AD carry from the shot caller. Obviously, it's easier. I'm not going to say easier, but you have a bit more control over just looking at the minimap from the support position. I think everyone can go back to one really good shot calling support, Mata, High.
Yeah, it certainly does seem to be the case. Getting control of the map is great. But now when we compare these guys head-to-head, I guess Hellions versus Avant, it is easier because we have had a look at that. It was Avant taking the victory the first time around. But these are two very different teams, and both are looking to grow here.
the thing that I really want to kind of make clear, if you guys didn't watch the Avant versus Hellions game, it was how Avant won the 2-0 was Hellions had the lead for pretty much both games, and then it was thrown and kind of their inability to cohesively 5v5 against Avant. And so that's the big thing. And that's the one kind of trajectory that we've seen Hellions really improve on, is their ability to 5v5. And with the lane, or not the lane swaps, the role swaps coming in for Avant-Garde, it looks pretty scary for Avant.
Yeah, and I know that we speak about this a lot, but the transition of Ryu from carry top laner to all this split pushing and maybe some team fight on the side, this might be something that's still hurting the lineup, Pastry.
Yeah, I feel like Ryu's just trying to do a little bit too much for his team. He's playing Gangplank, he's split pushing, he's using his ultis, he's like teleporting in, trying to team fight on Fiora when he's also going for split pushing. Like, Ryu is a great player and he's a great carry top lane player, but for me, like, he can't do all the lifting for his team, and that's sort of what it feels like right now.
Yeah, it certainly does look to be the case. Malaz is the top laner that will be facing off against him. We've heard great things about this guy, and he was supposed to be the next carry top laner to come to the OPL, but I know you, especially, Frosker, feel like it's just not there yet.
I mean, I wasn't super impressed with his performance. I do think that they abused Tom Kinch in their drafts the first time against this team, and I suspect that that'll be the same case this time around because Tom is still in a very strong place. But I haven't really seen him go off on that kind of carry role that he's been hyped up to have.
Yeah, it certainly is not the case. He did have a Jax performance last week against the Chiefs, but wasn't able to pull out a victory with it. As every single Avant game, though, I'm going to throw us towards the jungle. Chelby is the guy for me that we really expected big things for with all the roster swaps that happened with Avant. He was the one veteran that they kept on the lineup and hasn't really had the beginning of the season in a carry jungle meta that we expect out of someone like Chelby.
Yeah, and it's funny because Destiny's the other veteran, I guess, for the team, but he's moved back to support now, and he's always kind of going back and forth. But it's funny that we talk about carry top laners, and Chelby, the big carry jungle, just not doing it, not carrying somehow.
Yeah, and across the other side of the rift, we do have the Korean duo, Cookie and Bomb. I know that Cookie is someone, at least in this matchup, was able to get into the mid lane and really sets Bomb up for some good success.
So again, the last time that these two teams faced, I actually think that Cookie had a very good series, and particularly a very good game one. He got into the mid lane. He allowed Bomb to pick up that early kill on Anivia. The thing is Bomb and Cookie are very interesting. I feel like they put so many resources into Bomb, and not resources just in terms of gold, but just pressure in general, you know, making sure that he's suited up to the matchup that he wants, which isn't a surprise because he's the mid laner, but also kind of like applying pressure, not even just in successful ganks, but kind of walking by it. But he acquires all these resources and he gets these leads, and it's what I like to call either Alex Hitch or Bjergsen syndrome. You win your lane, and then you just continue to win your lane. You don't win the rest of your map. You just kind of sit.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be a recurrent pattern where he is able to get those kills, doesn't really transition it everywhere. That's what they rely on Ryu. But one side of the Hellions that really has begun to step up, and a side that I didn't necessarily think I would ever say is a support player, Denian, even getting some target bans of the Janna thrown at him and the like, certainly seems to be the veteran that the Hellions, even though they weren't looking for it, they've just kind of fallen into it.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how much playtime Denian gets as a support. Probably through the rest of the season, but, you know, as the team evolves, like, what's going to happen to him? I think Denian, he was a voice for the team before on support stuff, not necessarily on the actual support position, but I think Denian's stepping into his role. He's playing relatively strong champions. He's kind of a guy that likes to be ahead of the curve. I think the synergy developing is looking much better.
Yeah, he's broken the meta. He's brought Janna back into the heavy initiation, the kind of oceanic ARAM Phyto style of game plan. And I know that Janna is someone that we speak about a lot across the LPL, across the OPL, that this is the support we're really looking to make waves in what is a very heavy 80 carry peel meta.
It's also just a structure-based meta. That's the big thing. So you have to think Janna's going to have a fabulous mid-game power spike. She's going to have 5 points in her E, which is going to be her shield. It effectively gives you a free BF sword worth of stats. So if you have, like you said, the triple 80 carry comps running around, a lot of those Ezreal, Corki are going to have mid-game power spikes as well. So it synergizes really well when Janna's strong. Just start rotating them around the map with her passive movement speed, and just start sieging up towers.
Yeah, for me, I feel like Janna's just like the worst kept secret in support right now. She's really strong. She's been strong for a while. She's perfect in this meta with Alistar, Trundle, and Poppy, these heavy engage supports. And I feel like Denian just sort of was one of the first guys in the OPL to cotton onto it. And I imagine it'll start seeing a lot more play.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is such a... I guess you have to play it perfectly right every single time. And a team that has some communication errors that aren't really playing the micro game very, very well right now in the Hellions, have found really good support with this one champion just based off how well Denian is able to play it. So I really like that pickup. The other person that I think has slept a little bit is Frey. He started to pick up a couple of Lucian games. He's looking much more comfortable around Summoner's Rift. The first time that these teams faced off against each other, Destiny definitely got the better of that matchup. Is Frey maybe someone we're looking at to take to the new kid on the block Stark?
Well, to be very fair to Frey, the 1v1 matchups in terms of just the AD carry versus AD carry, he took Ezreal, which your tier in lane is not going to assist you with those massive mana battle stats on it. And when Destiny gets his best champion, Lucian, and Lucian's just a fabulous duelist, it's going to be very hard.
Yeah, I think in general it's been funny to watch how they've played and just see Frey and Denian definitely get better as a lane. They've evolved quite nicely, but it's just so strange to me that like you look at what Ryu and Bomb are doing in the mid lane, and it's like, what is going on? Because they're teleporting all over the place, they're doing crazy things, and I feel like the jungler and the dual lane are running around trying to like put out fires while there's two different split pushes going on. But we have seen late game success from Hellions that is kind of doing it in an unconventional way.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I like the fact that you did point out the unconventional way that they do play at the moment. What I do want to get your thoughts on quickly before we get into the game, you said they're not the 4th place team. Are they the better team tonight? Will Hellions be able to pick up the victory over Avant, or will Avant 2-0 Hellions for this split?
I actually think Hellions are going to 2-0 here. I think they've gotten better. I felt they've learned a lot from the last time they played. And to be honest, I think they're just looking like the stronger team tonight.
Yeah, I frankly have to agree right there, especially because the role swap that's going on right now just puts Avant-Garde at a disadvantage right out of the gate.
Yeah, it certainly does, but we'll see whether they are able to pull through. We've heard from these guys on the desk. We want to hear from you at home. Get on Twitter, tweet at us, #IamOPL. Tell me who you think is going to win and why. However, guys, the teams are ready to get in, so I'm going to leave you with Atlas and Rusty to take us onto Summoner's Rift.
Thank you very much, Spawn. Very excited to get into Champion Select as quickly as possible. Rusty, we need to talk about Stark. Who is this guy? Where's he come from?
Absolutely no idea where he came from. Atlas is a solo queue player that's just been seamlessly picked up by Avant, as has a lot of their players this particular split. So you do have to keep that in mind. It's a fresh side of Avant. They're bringing in another fresh face, and it's all to work around Destiny, their premier player.
Yeah, and I find it interesting, of course, Spawn brought it up there on the desk, the fact that Destiny and Chelby, sort of the two veteran players, now a potential mid and jungle duo synergy situation, much like Bomb and Cookie.
Yeah.
See whether that's going to work out. But we are into Champion Select, ladies and gentlemen. Still waiting for band number 1 as Avant with this patched up team at the moment. I think it's probably fair to say. Waiting to get theirs underway, of course. Missing out on a few for game number 1.
Yeah, so they're not going to have any of their bans in this first game, and it's entirely on the Hellions roster now to decide what they want to get rid of.
Yeah. Of course, Hellions being on the red side here as well, so we'll be giving away something of high priority, theoretically, to the blue side pickup of Avant. It's always interesting when you have one team with less bans. You don't know whether it's necessarily working for one or the other, but Poppy's going to be the first ban here, as we are going to wait another 10 seconds.
And of course, remember, failure to submit their roster on time is why they're missing these bans. So as we do slowly go through there is a very interesting thought process you have to take from both teams, because so many champions are going to be available. You have to think of the Tahm Kench that Malaz will always go towards as a prime pick for Avant, and because they are first pick, maybe it helps them to get that at least that champion.
Yeah, that's true. And at the moment, Ryze is going to be banned away as well as the Poppy, so Tahm Kench is one that can get through. Lulu, of course, high priority. I've got Lissandra, Tahm Kench, Gangplank, heaven forbid. Not entirely sure. Like, look, Destiny, does he play it there in the mid lane? No one knows what Destiny plays when he's in the mid lane, of course.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Lots of questions need to be asked. And one thing to note is that Hellions are the only team in the OPL to ban Elise, to take it away from their opposition. And the only Elise players that you can really note, Chelby's a very prominent one.
One thing I really like is their final ban here, of course. Corki is going to be taken away, as Destiny would have liked to play that champion, as Jin's being hovered, of course, able to be played this time around here in the OPL. Not entirely sure whether it's first pick worthy. What are your thoughts? Of course, you've done a lot of research into Jin.
I've done my part in the Jin research, of course. I don't think it's first pickable. You don't want to reveal your hand. We even saw it in the LCS picked against Kalista in particular, so I don't think they'll go towards a champion such as Jin right now. A lot of other options available to Avant-Garde that they may want to consider, and not this one either.
Malaz just loves to hover his Cassiopeia
That's what he's known for.
I know, it's beautiful, but I just don't know whether it's going to be first picked. I do want him to still play it. Alawi also probably not going to be that champion, but 9 seconds to go. They need to make up their mind. Zavant toying with an Evelyn idea. And it's just Malaz, man. He just always gets me. Kalista is going to be the first pick, though. So Hellions now with pick of the litter as far as what they want to grab for anywhere. And Gangplank standing out like a sore thumb. Of course, Time Kench. My God, there are so many options.
I mean, Gangplank stands out as an option you might want to pick, but Hellions haven't had the best track record with playing Gangplank. In fact, a lot of the Oceanic teams have really struggled to grasp Gangplank and his full capabilities, find these victories with him. I think Legacy the biggest standout as a team that has actually won. The Kalista first pick is a nice pickup for Stark as well. One of the biggest and most important AD carries, I'm going to say, at the moment in competitive play, solely because you can throw your support around and utilize them more effectively. Gives you an extra knock-up, and there are some players that like Yasuo they will go towards, so just an added bonus there on top.
Well, that'd be very exciting if Destiny's going to be playing Yasuo. I mean, man, step out of the AD carry role, move straight to mid. I'm going to play Yasuo, boys. Don't even worry about it.
Out of the frying pan into Mordor.
Yeah, exactly. I think Hellions were just saying, well, we've got too many options. Ryu's going to go back to the Gangplank, of course. He did manage to pick up a victory in game #1 last week. Was, of course, against Trident. And then went back to Fiora 2 times in a row and just said, I'm split pushing now. We've managed to work out the team fighting thing. Who cares about it? Let's just split push. But Gangplank looking like it might either be Ryu or Bomb, but it looks like Ryu may be going back towards a little bit more of team fight flavor.
You would have to assume it's Ryu's Gangplank. Bomb's more of a control mage style of player, likes the Anivia as has been mentioned a couple of times. We've seen him come out with quite large amounts of success actually against Avant when Rekt was playing for them in that last game and put on a clinic.
Well, Shelby's hovering Ashe. Elise was looked at though, and Shelby of course loves to play that champion. Haven't seen his Lee Sin. I really want to see Shelby's Lee Sin, and I feel like in a game like this, where they've got a weird sort of makeup of players and who the heck knows what's going on, just bring out the Lee Sin, start kicking people.
He's got a very unique style of Lee Sin as well. He's just a massive fighter, and up against Cookie as well. Could work out for him, could signal bad things.
Yeah, possibly.
The Elise, I would almost wager, is much more important, but based off Shelby hovering the Alistar, there we go.
Well, he's going to go back to the Elise, and it is going to be Destiny finding the Alistar button, so pretty standard at the moment. Bottom lane and jungle locked in. Both solo laners still now up to Avant to grab away, as Bomb's going to hover the Yasuo here in the mid lane. And the thing I love about this, right, it's like, oh, we've got 2 AD solo laners. Now they're just going to be able to build armor against us, blah, blah, blah. But you've got so much armor penetration in the barrels, and Yasuo after he ults has so much armor penetration, basically doesn't even matter.
I mean, yes and no, because
get
sure,
excited.
Yasuo does magic damage on his E, so if they build it in laning phase, there's utility behind that. They've also got a Lucian and a Graves that have sole physical damage. So unless that's an AP mid lane Lucian, they would run a lot of struggles.
AP mid lane Lucian. There it is.
We're not going. Not yet. Not yet. I could still. I'll save that deep down for later on.
Does Ardent Blaze still do physical damage, or does it do magic damage? Okay, good. Thank goodness.
But yes, most importantly, they're not going to go Yasuo for very obvious reasons.
Most importantly, they picked up the Janna for Denny. Of course, the power pick for this guy. He's played 5 out of his 9 games so far in the OPL as Janna. That is over 50%. This guy is very keen on the champion. Absolutely. As Avant, yeah, considering their top laner now, but just find it so adorable. I don't know why.
I mean, there's a big question now. Tahm Kench is a likely contender here. Malaz is very good against these split pushes with Tahm Kench. Trundle as well, another thing that he prefers, and did quite well against Fioras, but knowing what they're playing, he's got a lot of options available to him. Destiny, on the other hand, what the heck can this man play mid?
Well, I mean, he could play Lulu. Of course, transitions quite nicely from support, which is where he sort of originally was, if we talk about originally being last season.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah. So that'd be the support position. So that would make a little bit of sense. One thing that's a problem, at least according to me, is they're putting so much emphasis onto Stark's ability to carry this game, because there is not a lot of damage elsewhere.
To an extent, I will say, keep your eyes on Shelby. We know that he plays Elise to do damage.
That's true.
Runic Echoes, Rattlers, Crystal Scepter seems to be the standard staple for Shelby in particular.
Yeah.
So there's at least 2 carry options. Lulu's a half carry option as well. She gets ahead, she does a lot of damage, so they do have things there. It's just that, yes, team composition-wise and team fighting with their execution is entirely about engaging with the Malphite from Malaz and then keeping Stark alive to do as much damage as possible.
Well, we'll see whether they can do it. Of course, they've got so much PL, so much protection. So as far as enabling that, they do have all of the tools that they will need. But Bomb, now to make his decision here in the mid lane. And of course, one thing that's really great about Lulu is the fact that she does sort of neutralize a lot of lane matchups. We'll see what Bomb has in store as the Cassidon's now being considered. And man, they are some scary solo laners, Rusty.
Hellions have put together a dangerous team composition in the way of damage. They're lacking a lot of the engage that Avant-Garde have, the disengage even to an extent besides Denian. If he's down in bottom lane, nothing is going to save them elsewhere. But what they do have is a big, just bunch of damage in absolutely every single position. If Denian can even put a shield on someone, it just goes up by leaps and bounds. This is a scary composition to run into. I feel like the 5-on-5, though, you have to give a bit of credit to Avant.
Yeah.
A Malphite Alistar Kalista combo is absurd to consider. So Helion's probably going to run that strategy they always do. It's the 2 teleports, the split push with the gangplank. If they're ahead, put the Cass in the other side lane and run a 1-3-1 till they win.
Yeah, well, that's exactly how they beat Trident in game number 3. It's like, well, if we can't win with 1 split pusher, why not have 2? And that worked out quite nicely there for them last week, but we'll see whether they can make a repeat performance. The thing that worries me, though, is how incredibly important this Malphite's going to be in this matchup. Of course, Malaz now picking up that huge rock in the top lane, and he's going to be soaking all of that physical damage that we were talking about before. It's just going to be the Kassadin that's going to be able to really put pressure on him as far as that damage is concerned.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be scary.
Well, the other big thing as well is Malphite's considered the direct counter to the ARAM that naturally comes out in competitive games, so could be a problem here for the 1-3-1 strat.
Most certainly could, but we want to hear from you guys. Use that hashtag AVWin if you think that Avant are going to be able to take this one and hop on over to Twitter, or if you think that Hellion are going to be able to take this game down, use that hashtag HLNWin and let us know exactly what you think. And also, you know, if you've got anything else you want to tweet at us, just use the hashtag IamOPL and say whatever the heck you like.
Absolutely, and of
Looking
course,
forward to it. Underwater tweets, please.
we've already had one. I feel like we've met
No,
that
I want
goal.
another one.
We need to see,
Like
though,
actually underwater. That was
no,
a really
it's not
cute
gonna
one.
happen. You can dream, Atlas.
Yeah, well, a girl can, most certainly. But we are under Summoner's Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Avant are going to be on our blue side now, moving out towards the center of the map. Looks like it's a bit of a fan, but, you know, Lulu cheating towards the top side. No, it's just going to be a defensive 5 then. Don't even worry about it.
Yep. The 5-point start, pretty standard and expected at the moment anyway, just to get vision of one another, and realistically, there's no need to lane swap. The Kalista Alistar's got a lot of pressure. There's no way Illusion Jan is going to die, and what are they actually going to achieve besides a bit of extra gold in the pocket?
Yeah, well, speaking of gold in the pocket, that's a bandit off for Ryu. He's going to go back to base and buy another potion. He can't, because of course he's got the corrupting one, but he's going to head back. Gets all of his health back before the minions spawn, of course, but we'll see whether they go for a lane swap. Not going to happen, as AV still just waiting to see what's going to happen here.
Nice. I feel like, so conflicting styles need to be recognized from both of these team compositions. We mentioned hard engage against split push, and that's exactly what it feels like it's going to be. The question, again, is execution, because if Ryu can keep Malaz where he is, that's in laning phase, is fist bumping.
Having a sweet dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cookie's just like, yeah, you got 2 weapons, but mine's way bigger than yours, man. Don't worry about it. He's also started with a longsword, which I think is pretty manly and cool. That means he's not going to quite get as much experience from these camps, though, which might be an issue.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest issues of all. Cookie doesn't even get level 2 from the first camp. I have absolutely no idea why he has a longsword. Like, honestly, I have no idea.
They look relatively similar.
Like, he'll have to go red buff to Scuttle Crab, I guess. Unless he just straight up tries to invade or gank. I mean, the gank damage will be very high.
That is true. Now, level 2's hit by Blind Turkey. Hits a nice headbutt pulverized onto Denian. Denian just wanders back in. He's going to eat himself one of his biscuits. And everything should be fine, as Destiny putting the pressure on Bomb here in the mid lane.
He has to gank mid. Cookie would not start a longsword without ganking, but he's doing the Raptors. He has no health. What is happening?
Oh, the Ignite's down. Bomb's taking a lot of damage, but Destiny takes 2 turret shots, which ain't great.
No, it evens it out a little bit further. And these two just going to hit each other in the face a whole lot. Bomb's prepared, though, having that corrupting potion and teleport, most importantly. That Ignite being down means, honestly, Destiny doesn't even have kill pressure anymore in this lane.
And, of course, Cookie hanging around, waiting in the wings at the moment. It is going to be Chelby picking up his Wraith camp. Cookie says, like, my health bar's going. I'm at least going to be able to get a wolf.
Like, he's made enough money from the full jungle clear that he's reimbursed the longsword cost and could have had extra experience.
Yeah, no, it's
a jungle item.
Really, look, they're relatively close to each other if you're purchasing items as well, and they're a similar color. Like, look at those items. It's like just one switched around the other way.
I too would like to hope that he misclicked the longsword.
Yeah, well, I think that's like one of the, like, because based on how he played, right, there's no real reason to have that item. Let's just stop. I just don't know whether we even need to. It's just a bit embarrassing.
I tried
Bomb.
to justify.
Yeah, going to take a Glitter Lance here in the mid lane, though, as Destiny's got all of his health back, eating both of his biscuits. But Bomb will probably find his way back into this lane just fine after a teleport. And Cookie wanders over a ward. He's going to take his blue buff down now. Shelby actually looking for it here as Cookie might be in trouble. Half health on the blue buff now as Cookie's able to avoid a lot of the damage. Shelby just looking for a cocoon. Does find it onto Cookie now as Destiny over the top. Cookie in trouble. The flash forward. There's the Glitter Lance, and first blood goes down for Destiny. Beautiful play on this Lulu.
Destiny already showing that he's capable of playing this middle lane, or at the very least Lulu. Fantastic rotation though to help his team out, knowing the bomb wasn't available all the time in the world. They do get the teleport from Bomb. They get the kill as well onto Cookie. And that is a bad start for Graves in this jungle, especially giving Shelby a way into your own jungle and take it all for himself.
And of course, Destiny picking up that Lulu as well. He's just looking real comfortable here in the mid lane as Shelby's pushing up as well. Just trying to get a free back here for the Lulu, get some extra money into the back pocket. 10 CS the lead. Now with the first blood, going to be even happier.
Yeah.
See what that first buy is going to be.
Kind of working around the team composition again, though. It's looking towards Kalista and how that laning phase will go. Transition that into mid-game, because they will need to break the split pushing that Hellions will be bringing towards them. And with a start like that, very easy to keep Kalista alive and keep Kalista going. The fact that laning is even speaks a lot of praise at the moment to what Avant are putting in place.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Hellions now getting this bot lane pushing out now as well as Frey doing quite well keeping up with what can be a difficult lane to deal with. But you can see not too much going on. Teleport's going to be used to get Ryu back into the top lane. Even up on farm now, but Malaz, he's decided to walk there. Really important for that Malphite to be able to threaten the unstoppable force ganks around the map. So not going to use that teleport.
Yeah, Barmy Cinder, surprisingly big spike for Malaz. And trading capabilities in lane just by being able to clear the waves. Puts Ryu into a very awkward position. And again, I say trading, what I mean is that Ryu has to spend a lot more focus on the minions. And it unlocks Malphite's AoE capabilities from having the ground pound and the Cinder.
Oh, here comes Chelby and Destiny. The flash into the cocoon. Denian in trouble. He's flashed out of the way, but the repel's there for Chelby. Frey now right underneath this turret as Blind Turkey isn't even going to die. It's a wonderful dive from AV, and they're all cylinders right now.
Stark heal, Lulu ultimate, and it's just that easy to keep an Alistar alive. That dive was executed so well from Avant-Garde. And this is just so weird to say, watching Destiny in this mid lane do things like that. But they do it well, and Avant-Garde, they find themselves convincingly ahead this early.
Yeah, Destiny's playing roaming support from mid lane.
Oh, yeah.
And he can pick up all the farm like he showed us he can definitely do from the AD carry position. It's almost like I'm realizing that mid lane is the amalgamation of both support and AD.
Almost.
Not entirely sure whether that's true, but it's an exciting prospect. As Ryu, he's definitely doing fine here in the top lane, 52 CS to 49, and their late game insurance is definitely there in the Kassadin and the Gangplank. But Avant really showing that despite having a slightly funky roster this time around, there's still no team to be trifled with.
You do have to remember that we're up against the late game heroes that are Hellions. Always turn it around with one team fight the later the game goes. Whereas Avant, they like to speed the games up with their victories, averaging about 29 minutes.
That is a very good point.
They'll need to keep the pace going. They don't want to lose themselves in what is a slow split push game that Hellions always put into effect.
Well, Destiny helping out most definitely with his 1,500 gold leaders. Bomb's just going to Rift Walk on top of him. Destiny does have the Wild Growth available though, so he should be fine. Once again, the shield's on top of him. Destiny does get the Transmogulate, but in comes Cookie. He may have to hold himself, does so, as end of the line gets some spike damage back, but Bomb not wanting to risk his life heading back in once more.
Destiny gets a lot of health back from just popping the ultimate, and realistically, he has the Ignite available. So Cookie did well to force at least the ult out. We know Bomb, a bit aggressive once he hits that level 6 mark and has a tendency to jump in on you. So needs to be careful, Bomb.
Ooh, nice little answer there from Destiny to even out that trade as Chelby is going to find himself a pink ward and also make his presence known. Both junglers here around the mid lane, and Blind Turkey moving on up as well as Bomb thinking about going back, decides not to though. Wants to pick up this wave of minions underneath the turret.
They also recognize that that bush is pink warded, and you can see Shelby's pathing, staying away from the ward entirely. In fact, still looking to dive bottom through the lane. Look at the teleport.
Yeah, teleport coming in here from Malaz as Frey and Denny, and they're familiar with this situation. The ult comes down from Ryu, but there's the double knockups. Hellion in so much trouble as Frey's going to die as well. It's a double kill for Stark. They're really making his first time here in the OPL a pleasant one, Rusty.
Absolutely are. Welcome to the OPL Stark. 4-0.
Special delivery. The flash forward from Destiny. He's diving, can't find it as he's going to fall down to Cookie. I think he knew that he was dead. He's like, well, you're coming with me, Bomb, but he's not.
He flashed at Mr. Glitterlance. Unfortunate for Destiny as he shows a hiccup. That was so aggressive. And just fighting constantly in this middle lane, of course. The team composition of Avant have, I don't think it matters how Destiny's going, because the real issue is what we're watching right now, and that is Stark getting 2 extra kills into the kitty, 4-0, and Avant making sure he gets to that 4-0 stage.
Yeah.
If it isn't a Lulu, it's a Malphite.
Well, you can see Blade of the Ruined King now completed here for Stark, so first power spike done for the Kalista as Blind Turkey. He's got the Swifty boots, he's ready to move around this map, get things sorted out. Still, much increased gold lead for Avant. It's sitting at approximately 3,000, maybe a little bit shy. As Chelby, you're exactly right, going straight back to that Runeglaive one more time.
Yep. No surprises here from Avantgarde, except that they're doing this well with their sub mid laner and a new AD carry. And I guess they're sub now in support, but hey. Hellions have made a good rotation here. They're trying to accelerate bottom lane a little bit further. If they can get this turret down, make it a longer lane for Avant, they might be hesitant to put the Kalista there. And they do get it.
Yeah. No contest, completely ignoring Chelby as Malaz. He's going to move down to the bottom side. You can see the duo lane has moved up top, and Ryu having to deal with the extra pressure of this Blade of the Ruined King Kalista.
A nigh on impossible feat to achieve right now, as having a blade already is disgusting.
Whoa, there's the flashes. Ryu's going to have to flash out of the way of Blind Turkey. Not even going to use the ultimate as he's just tanking up the turret. And it looks like they are going to be able to brute force this top lane out of turret. Can anything be gained by the Hellions around the mid lane, as they do have 4 strong now moving into that one?
Yeah, they're moving with the Graves and a Janus. So very easy to take these objectives, get these turrets, and Chelby's just on defense duty every single time. They might not be able to get this one just yet. Banking on the second wave.
Yeah, they've got Malaz moving up. He's been pinged out here by Hellions, because Blind Turkey wants to take down this pink ward. Ryu just shoots him, and the cow says, well, I don't actually mind about that. That's actually fine.
Malaz probably should stay as well with Chelby. Try and defend the turret, because they've got Lulu working their way in. They can take 3-on-3. They know that the top lane is organically going to start falling down just from the pressure as he's getting ganged up on by ghouls. Oh, God.
Oh, jeepers. Man, there's so many.
Stop yelling! Oh, my God.
Ryu gets a nice clear of those barrels. As AV can't really brute force, as Frey's going to make his way towards the top lane. Now AV putting the pressure on mid, as you can see that turret's already had a bit of work put into it. Danian now the one having to defend with the shield, but it may not be enough.
Should not go down yet. This is where the wave clear battles start to commence. Of course, you have to remember that pressure from Avant is still mounting on that top lane. So these two being here just force numbers to address them. It gives more pushing capabilities to the top lane. The joint effort.
Yeah, Cocoon going to land. Cookie goes down so low as Chelby's going to eat a barrel. Ryu makes his way to the mid lane, but his turret, like you said, very low. Because there's only Frey left up in the top lane defending.
And Lucian with no ultimate. Frey's not going to be able to defend this one. That's at least 1 turret just from natural pressure. And Malphite has spent a lot of time just farming to catch up in the bottom lane.
Yeah, he was down by about 40 CS, but Ryu unable to keep him down for much longer. Is Destiny in trouble? Transmogulate onto Bomb. Not going to be able to progress any further, but they've still kept this turret up somehow.
They absolutely have. Gangplank with a Trinity Force completed is an abundance of wave clear. And of course, Bomb threatening on the side once he was getting that blue buff. They had no vision or knowledge that he was there, so they had to assume that they were capable of ganking. They don't get it yet, but they do get the top turret, and now they can work around Stark and wherever he wants to go next, because that is a giant Callista.
Yeah, well, they're waiting for that Renan's Hurricane when they can really start these team fights up in earnest.
I don't even think they need to wait for
That's
it.
actually a really good point. I was wondering whether or not that's even necessary. As collateral damage is going to be used onto Destiny. He says, all right, well, I'll trade my spooky ghosts for your ultimate.
Yeah. Fantastic smoke screen, most importantly from Cookie, to prevent any way of Destiny getting to him. Using the E, knocking him down. Gets out, but a lot burnt for it.
Rift Scuttler is going to fall as Chelby is going to aggravate the Wolf Spirit. No dragons have been looked at all thus far this game, as Ryu's got himself a 2-level advantage here in the top side.
Yeah.
And a 41 CS lead.
Thankfully, Malphite, always relevant. Of
True.
course, you do want level 11, but now he's just focusing on wave clear by having the Sunfire cape. And honestly, Malaz will be perfectly fine. The dangerous thing is that whilst Malaz is perfectly fine, Ryu is getting very far ahead. Having that much CS already at 14 minutes, basically even with the clock this early in the game, is a scary prospect for Avant to think about, especially if he can wave clear and stop AV from sieging, getting these turrets in global gold.
Well, Avant are going to be able to take down this dragon. Of course, they've got a heck of a lot of secure. Stark on the Callista is going to be able to get the work done, but look at Hellions moving into the mid lane, seeing what they can do. As far as pushing out this turret, but Bomb, you may be in trouble. Does he have enough Riftwalks to get himself out of this one? Oh, Turkey not going to quite find it there as the Riftwalk just comes off cooldown.
Yeah, level 11 Bomb has actually engaged the split pushing.
Yeah, there's the Pulverize from Blind Turkey, but Hellions are going to utilize this moment to take down the mid-outer turret. So it is going to be the trade.
This is really interesting from Avant. They're going to have to four-man this, but there's a GP ultimate, and Hellions are working mid.
Yeah, they still do have the Spiderlings hanging around here as AV are going to be able to get this turret down, but inner turret may fall in the mid lane as well. Hellions just looking to trade, and I have to say, that is definitely working out in their favor.
Yeah, that is absolutely a good trade for Hellions. An even trade is a good trade. Ryu's now pushing into this turret. He should get this as well, probably. Might die.
Yeah, well, Cookie's going to
Well,
turn
never
around,
mind.
and Hellions are all up here, apart from Bomb, who's just happy split pushing. Malad's going to get slowed by the barrel. He's going to take a lot of work, but I believe they may be able to get through him. The ultimate comes down. He's looking to try and trade. Might get Ryu, gets a flash. Not going to have the boulder ready as he just turns that one around. Another one. But in the end, Cookie picks it up.
It just, Ryu gets out alive. Malaz does go down in the end. And of course, flashing without enough mana to throw the Q. Not able to last hit Ryu on this GP. Walks away with a bit of swagger in his step.
Bit of Benny Hill music necessary, but in the end it is going to be the mid turret going down in favor of AV. At least the outer one. So evening up entirely as far as that global gold is concerned and bringing it back to a 1,600 gold game.
Yeah.
Which is basically nothing.
It's not a lot. Of course, at 17 minutes, it might add up to a bigger feeling than it actually is. And honestly, a lot of that came down to Avant putting emphasis on the dragon, which was non-essential, and then trading objectives afterwards because they were the ones in a bad position due to that dragon that they started. Good point. It's just, again, the dragon. Sure, it's the first dragon. Doesn't provide you a lot, though, in the way of winning this game until maybe upwards of 30 minutes when the percentage values start to ramp up. You can deny it from Hellions, at least, who are going to want those percents.
Very good point. Shelby now claiming some vision around what will be the Baron area. Currently Harold minding the house for his fallow Voidian. Voidian? Does that work? Oh, there it does. That's what we were talking about. Stark now picks up the Renan's Hurricane. These minion waves are not going to stand a chance against the Callista.
I've never heard the term. You're just from the void.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Shelby?
He's just walking straight at him as Denian's going to get caught. Nice glitter lance from Destiny, tries to even out the trade, but Shelby just loses a lot of his health bar. so that he can walk into the Hellions.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard. I do
Nice
question
call.
it, but it's a standard Shelby thing.
Yep.
Just see enemy, fight enemy. It's very unexpected as well. It does catch a lot of people by surprise. Why is he fighting me? Doesn't make sense, but he does it every time.
There must be a reason.
Yeah, who's here with him?
Yeah, exactly. But Harold is going to fall. Shelby going to help out picking that one up as Stark is in here as well. They are going to deliver it to Destiny. So he's going to have some extra powerful minions moving up his lane.
So cool thing right now that Hellions can do is try and put the Kassadin with the Malphite every single time in this 1-3-1 split, meaning that Malphite, who have a look at his items, is going to have a pretty rough time up against Kassadin. And that's honestly a mistake from Malaz by not itemizing at least the Spectre's Cal in the way of magic resistance. Because if they do get this matchup, it's entirely a mismatch. And then Ryu should have a fine lane wherever he goes, if it's at Lulu or even if it's the AD carry.
Ooh, Stark taking a bit of damage, but Shelby eats the barrel. As Ryu's defending this top inner turret. Hellions in the right place at the right time.
And this is Avant not being able to close out on any kind of advantage because of the Gangplank pick. The amount of wave clear that comes out of him is starting to get really annoying, honestly. They're letting Kassadin freely farm, and the sooner he gets to 16, the better for Hellions across the board. But need to try and pull the trigger on something to establish a further gold lead.
Is Baron going to be an option come 20 minutes? I'm looking at their team, and I mean, they do have an Elise, a Lulu, and a Kalista.
Look at their wards.
Yeah.
That's 4 pink wards around exclusively the Baron area. Maybe it's a point they want to focus. Of course, it's available, but as long as Kalista's there, it's entirely possible. It's not recommended.
No, I don't
To a
know.
GP ultimate.
I'm just thinking, if you want to make a proactive move, that'd be one. Yes, Ryu just looking to shoot a Cinderling. Set up the red buff for his team. Yeah, just chill, man. Tenian going to be able to throw a Zephyr over the wall. Blind Turkey has to deal with Baron now. It takes a fair bit of damage, but Hellions are going to be able to take down this red buff, and we'll see whether AV look to fight.
Yeah. It's kind of all starting to build the pressure now. Ivana playing the slow game, working around their vision. Already focusing the Baron area at 20 minutes. Super early to consider. Yeah,
This call's gone down. Denian actually flashes out of the way of the knockup, but into the wall. And Shelby's going to lock down the kill. That is a pick that AV might be able to use as they're pinging onto the Baron.
And Denian with the missed flash. Unfortunate stuff here. Helion's support does go down. And AV, we mentioned they've got a Blade of the Ruined King. Well, their Baron damage is huge because of that. Lulu keeps them healthy. Shelby does his fair chunk himself, but they're against the GP ultimate. They need to show respect.
Oh, flashes from everyone as they're incoming onto Cookie. He's going to die straight away. Malaz eats a full culling and looks like he doesn't even care about it, as they do manage to pick off the jungler. Denian's alive again as AV look to maybe start this Baron off again. They have re-aggroed it.
Yeah.
Now Hellions moving over with 4. Is it going to be enough now, as there are a few cooldowns now missing?
Hellions want to fight this.
They're looking to. Nice Force Pulse comes in as they're trying to lock down the Kassadin. Low health bars now on the Hellions as Stark's trying to get in range. Nice Rift Walk over the wall. Actually flash from Ryu to get him out of the way of that cocoon. And AV, see whether they just go straight back to the Baron.
And it's a good bait from Avant-Garde. They're working around their strengths, and we saw it a little bit less than 2 minutes ago. Their vision. 4 pink wards established around that area. They consolidate with that vision, push the greens deeper, and then catch them out of position. Bait Baron, catch them out of position. They're going to rinse and repeat now that they've got the Dragon. The only thing left on the map is towers, and most importantly, Baron. They can do it until they get the Baron, or they win an entire team fight and snowball the game.
Well, as you see the money here, Stark well and truly ahead of Frey by about 1.2. My goodness, actually 1.8.
Yeah.
Never mind. That's a lot. As Destiny still ahead of his counterpart there in the mid lane as well. That Frost Queen's Claim doing some work for his bank.
And still no magic resistance from Malaz, so if they continue the split pushing regime, Hellions, AV could run into a mismatch and run into some trouble. But AV, forcing like they are right now, favors them more so by having that armor available to them. Because they can take down pretty much everybody, and Malaz will be unkillable in team fights.
Well, Frey finally as well. He's picked up some items that he's pretty happy with.
I mean, he's
Well as-
unkillable now.
yeah, pretty much. Ryu can't do anything about it, but you're right. Not sure why they haven't switched Bomb back there.
He doesn't
Frey
have
does
teleport.
have, you know, his items now. So
Bomb doesn't have
Insidia.
teleport.
That's a good thing.
Needs to stay with the team, especially given what Avant have been putting towards them.
And
There it is
AV,
again.
yeah, now without their Malphite, who's currently in a over a ward in the bottom lane, are going to start off the Baron. Decide to stop pretty immediately, which makes a bit of sense.
Well, how do you draw them out of position? How do you know if they even have a warded?
Good
You
point.
just start it, see how they react. And it is a matter of rinse and repeat right now for these guys. They are going to play the game around the objectives. And if it stops the split push, if it stops the 1-3-1, it's a net gain, at least for Avant. Then they can look to use their team comp more effectively. And that is make the big rock hit them in the face and then follow it up.
Look at Baron. He's getting real upset. He's like, Joey, get out of my... This is my house, man. Trespassing. Ooh, Destiny
best
looking
mate
for the
lives yours.
pick onto Cookie. He may get turned into a little critter, as the cocoon is not going to be quite long enough.
The pressure's there. Of course, the mid lane turret, they've got the inside track. Helion's running a 1-3-1. No teleport on Bob.
Yeah, he's going to have to head back to base. Actually decides to cancel it as AV just pick up that free turret. And Malaz is just more than happy to go toe-to-toe. Oh, it's the battle for the barrels.
Malaz wants this.
Yeah, the ultimate comes in. He's just going to use it onto Ryu here. He's put down a barrel, wants to get the movement speed, but Malaz right on top of it. He's burning him to death, picks up the kill with the Iceborne Gauntlet, and that's the 1v1 of the Malphite.
Absolutely the 1v1. We call it the potato matchup, you know, wet noodles, but holy moly, what?
Well, Blind
Okay.
Turkey headbutts a minion and pulverizes nothing as Bomb almost kills his jungler.
Yeah. Oh, that was... Moving on, they're sieging.
There's another pulverize. That hits a couple as Blind Turkey blows the ultimate. He's looking to try and stop this siege, waiting for the rest of his team to make their way up there. Malaz, he's got his teleport, but he's also knocking on the front door of the Hellions as Destiny now looking to try and start a fight. That is the Mora Malmortius down as Denian going to be missed by the Fate's Call as he was moving in a very odd direction. And AV, they've at least stopped some back.
Chelby.
Splash forward by Chelby. And Malaz, they're just waiting for him. He's doing the best work he can there on that bottom inhibitor. Frost Queen's Claim comes out.
done.
Denian has to flash. There's the ultimate out of Ryu, who now may not be able to fight Malaz as well. It's Denian, oh, just in range as Chelby locks it down with a Q. And AV now going to back off.
I mean, they're playing it really smart. You have to question, why did Blind Turkey use his ultimate, keep them at the turret for no reason, but because you look bottom, you see that Malaz, without Ryu to contest him, was there fighting him. That's exactly why they chased them all the way. Malaz has no mana. He needs a teleport for this.
Yeah, there is a teleport here for Ryu as well. I mean, Bomb actually, towards that top side. Ryu didn't need to, he was already here. As AV are looking to try and head back. Scrying all down as Hellions try to reset this map.
They push them back again. Last Whisper done for Ryu also. I don't blame him.
No, neither do I. I looked at him, I'm like, that doesn't look like an infinity. Wait a second. I remember what
exactly
just
right.
happened.
And keep in mind, Malaz's next item is also a Dead Man's Plate.
Oh, God.
So, all the way in the armor department. Not even sure if the Last Whisper will phase in, but of course, 35% of bonus armor penetration when you have about 200. Pretty effective item.
Yeah, exactly.
For 1,300 gold, quite efficient. Doesn't
Not
mean
bad.
you'll do damage, but it means you do a lot more.
To a Malphite, most definitely. And of course, it is going to be Ryu wanting to split push. That is generally his MO. As Chelby now regaining vision control around this Baron area. That ward has definitely been pretty stalwart there in the back of the pit, but he's going to finally be removed as AV get all of their vision up here.
And this
Bomb
is
going to make it back
such
to base.
a good question for Helions. How do they react in the face of this adversity? Not letting people play to their style. Avant is spending the entire game forcing them into an uncomfortable position. Helions, they're spending the whole time reacting, but still they try and have Ryu split push and they try and put Bomb there, and that's when they pay for it. Can Helions actually adapt to this?
Well, Malaz is waiting for a teleport home guard to come in on this Malphite. The ultimate goes down. Nice placement there from Ryu as he stops the Baron. He's going to reset. It's health bar as well, but that's Cannon Barrage down. Cookie now maybe caught out as Spooky Ghost come in. The Glitter Lance is there for even further slow. Flashes out of the way of the unstoppable force, but Malaz still feels like he may have this. Collateral damage does a fair bit of work, but they're using a lot to try and get onto Cookie. Now with split focus as Denian's going to fall down. Malaz just holding onto them. It is going to be the Ren that gets rid of the support, but can they lock down Stark? Ryu dies immediately. Cookie going to fall, but it's a double kill for Bomb. Can he do enough to control this fight? But Prey's going to fall. Quadra kill comes in. Stark, he picks up the Penta in his first game of the OPL.
Welcome, Stark, to the OPL, and welcome to your moment. Wow, what a performance so far from the Avant-Garde's new AD carry. 9-0-3. They break open the entire game from a single team fight like that, and that is Hellions playing to Avant, and that's not what you want to do.
And Avant's early aggression translated so perfectly into this late game. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. Consolidate vision around the Baron, allow Malaz to answer the split push, and man, that was so well played from a team that has a very interesting team composition and roster at the moment as Wild Growth comes in. Stark looking to try and finish the game as the Nexus is falling lower. The shutdown comes in. They're not going to be able to do it for now.
They really tried.
They certainly did.
And they were close, but they didn't end it just yet. It's times like this,
Chelby.
rather, that you look at Chelby.
I believe.
It is this Chelby's moment.
Oh, God.
Because
The
there's
Baron
no
actually didn't go down,
teleports
of course.
available. He's going to. Like 100% he's just going to run at it.
Oh, look at this spitty spider trying to get in there.
Get
Come
him,
on,
Shelby.
Shelby. Closes some distance there with the repel.
He did just use his repel though.
Oh, the Cannon Barrage, he flashes over the top. He's got the extra attack speed. In comes Malaz. And they're able to secure the game. Did like the fact that it got all shut down towards the end, but AV managed to get the victory, and that was so well played, and not what I was expecting, I have to say.
Absolutely not. Avant-Garde, they really stepped up, having a sub in the middle lane, a new AD carry, and what is now their sub back into support. These guys, for game one, they've showed up.
Yeah, really beautifully played, but we are going to throw it to our analyst desk and see what they made of that game.
Thank you so much, Atlas. And that was an interesting game, to say the least, especially given the way it ended. But as everything, let's take it back to the start of the game. Let's take it back to Champion Select. I feel like, Pastry, you summed this up perfectly. Once again, Hellions, they pick 2 split pushes, they pick very late game scaling champions, and it's just the only way they can win.
I mean, it seems like it's the way they want to play the game, but Hellions got the dream comp there. Ryu on the plank, double teleports, Kassadin, good defensive bottom lane, great aggressive jungler for Cookie, and for whatever reason, Hellions, who can't seem to get themselves an early edge ever, couldn't bring this one to late game.
Well, let's kind of dissect what really happened that early game. Jake, I know that you and I were talking about this during the game itself, why he bought the longsword. Cookie on Graves bought the longsword. Obviously, you're missing a lot of your life steal right there. What happened is it forced him to back after the Wraith camp, which means that he was late to his blue. So effectively, your Graves is late to your blue. Shelby walks into the jungle, first bloods him. Destiny is able to get over there first because it's Lulu shoving in the Kassadin. With that EXP advantage, having the first blood, gets the level 6 earlier and then takes that advantage, immediately bought with the Gangplank ultimate, and pretty much just decimates from there.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. You know, there's lots of reasons why you might go alongside. The thing that came to my mind was he thought he was going to be double jungling. So automatically, longsword experience, not that key, will help you shoving down waves, help you get that turret earlier. And maybe they had a cute fast push strategy, but in the end just didn't work out because, you know, that's not how the game went. But the repetitive visits to the bottom lane is where I want to take us next, because you talked about the first one already using Lulu's level 6. Then the second time around, credit to Shelby. We said this guy hasn't been that aggressive. Lives in the jungle, knows where it's warded, and walks down the whole lane. Drops a ward on the way there, Pastry Time, to set up a beautiful teleport.
Yeah, that
game.
was one of the nicest things for me to see, is Shelby finally back to some of his old elements and getting aggressive in the enemy jungle. He's known for dueling junglers. He ganks heavily almost all the time. But it was nice to see Shelby get aggressive, have his team follow up and reward him for the play, and then set up that beautiful wraparound gank as well.
Yeah, and what that meant was that the AD carry, Mr. Stark, was just so fed. 4-0-1, I believe, is how he started that game. Went from strength to strength, was able to pick up a lot. But on the flip side of that, you know, we have to talk about this Kassadin. Finished very low. For a lot of that game was 0-0-0. Frostgurren, you have some passionate thoughts about this. Share them with us.
It's literally exactly what I was talking about with Bomb. He just doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't participate with the team. Like, even though his team was, I mean, effectively feeding across the map, just in multiple roles. I mean, there's no other way to say that. Bomb was sitting 0-0 and 0 for literally 27 minutes of that game. Like, he had a ton of farm, but if you're on a champion that's that relevant, you need to be participating with your team.
Yeah, to make matters worse, if you take double teleport, you really do need to be able to impact something, because it means you're going to miss a summoner spell during teamfight. Speaking of teamfight, Petra Time, we had quite a good one to close out that game. Stark went absolutely nuts.
He did. Getting a pentakill in your first OPL match, always nice. To his credit, he did have 4 kills before the pentakill started. End of the game, I think 9-1 and 3. So credit to the kid. As a guy, going to roll the clip out. Avant, multiple times they bait Baron here. Ryu, he burns his ulti. Avant do the smart thing and they back away. They've got great pink vision, and now it's time to pull the trigger. Cookie is the first target, and Malaz goes in for it. Good flash from Cookie, but Avant just have so much follow-up here. Stark sleeping down. Chelby's going to chase him. The slow from Malphite's key there. This disengage is a little risky for Avant, but they're actually so far ahead that it doesn't really matter. They kill Denian, Malaz gets the ulti from Lulu, Ryu tries to swoop in and save the fight, but there's too much damage on Stark. He's hopping around, he's a massive Kalista, and all you really have to do is hit your re button a bunch of times. Again, great performance from the new AD carry player, but that was about as easy as it gets for a pentakill.
As far as style points goes for flashing that Malphite ult, it looked beautiful, but literally if he had just flashed upwards instead of across the mid lane, he would have been in range for the Janna ultimate. It would have saved his life.
Yeah, and the other thing that you do have to point out is that Gangplank is a very bad late teleporter to team fights. He needs to teleport early. The reason is because of his barrel mechanic. Yep. You need to actually allow your team to kite back to it. There was no wards for Ryu, so you could see that he was just yelling, get the heck out. Denian tried to set it up with an ultimate, but it wasn't to be. But this just shows that proactive League of Legends, much easier to execute on than this reactive split pushing thing that Hellions are going back to.
And frankly, I think Avant misplayed that, especially during the mid game. If we think about Avant are so far ahead, and you think about that mid game tower trade or the mid tower trade versus the bottom tower trade, where Hellions got 2 mid towers as well as a top tier tower, while Avant were pressuring the bottom lane. It was just kind of little inconsistent macro plays like this. And even starting the Baron, we were saying, you know, Gangplank has ultimate. They can very easily force them off of this Baron if they just poke their head in. In that case, Cookie went too deep and they were able to catch up with the hard engage like the Spooky Ghost, like the Malphite ult. But Avant weren't actually playing the mid game very tightly.
Yeah, they certainly weren't. Areas to exploit there, especially because of the team comp that Hellions put together. But what that does mean, guys, is that Avant go up 1-0. So stick around. We're going to have game 2 between Hellions and Avant after this very, very short 3.5-minute break.
Oh my god. I can keep going.
Yeah, I repel.
Alright, get ready to turn, I'm speeding you.
Right. Yeah, if you can.
Go on, Janna, we're nuking Janna. I can ult you, Malaz, ulting. Casting.
I have ulti.
Go for TP.
Kill his barrel.
Swap.
Castle. Lucian. Penta. You got it. Penta. Is that the debut of the young Stark? Over here.
Welcome back to the OPL, where Avant just picked up a surprise win over Hellions. I only say surprise because they did it with a very interesting roster. Destiny, mid lane. Blind Turkey back from the sub position that he was apparently in, but we didn't see into the support. They're able to pick up win number 1. However, there is a second game just around the corner. Before we get there, however, we want to hear from you guys at home. We have a very specific question for you on Twitter. We want to know, if you could duo with a pro, who would it be and why? Tweet at us at lol_Oceania. Use that hashtag IamOPL. The most creative entry will win a month's supply of Red Bull. I go through about 5 of those a show. It's very bad for me. However, want to open up to the desk. Froskuren, I think I know the answer to this one. Starting with you. You could duo queue with an Oceanic pro player. Who would it be?
Well, obviously, because I'm a girl, I play support, which means I need to duo queue with an 80 carry. So King.
There you go. Call it. Face your tap, throw it over to you.
I'm an absolutely awful mid lane player, so I need amazing jungle pressure and a hard carry. So Carbon, I'm coming for you, buddy.
Yeah, I duo queue a lot with Rusty. I don't know if he counts as a pro player anymore, but he is my one and only. Otherwise, it would be Tayryu up there in the top lane. For Hellions, didn't have a great game 1, but he's able to get it together at our duo queue adventures. Getting back towards this series, however, do want to let you guys know that it will be wrecked in the mid lane. Destiny going back to support. Stark still starting with that 80 carry, as he did pick up a pentakill, and you can't bench those guys. Does this change the dynamic of the set?
I actually don't think it really does, to be honest. Avant had a great game with Destiny in mid. He kind of just did his job. He was a role player on Lulu. Yes, Rek brings more of a carry style, I guess, to his team. But I think for me, it's just that Avant play together aggressively, and that's all they really need to do.
So that's what I want to bring up, is the fact that Destiny played a support mage. We haven't seen that out of Rek yet. He has been a lot more about the assassin. Does requiring more utility into the mid lane kind of negate what they did in that early game targeting bottom lane?
In terms of him getting the rotation on Kassadin?
Well, he's like a LeBlanc, Zed, Kassadin player.
Well,
I feel like they don't peak as early.
I don't think him being Lulu had anything to do with them snowballing that game in the way that they did, although I do think that you bring up a valid point that obviously Lulu is a fantastic player, but it also helped that Destiny is a fantastic 80 carry. Obviously, he can't support himself this time around, though, but no, I really don't think that Rek really needs to pull out the Lulu. I was really impressed with his Lux last week, even though they lost the game. His performance in particular was very strong.
Yeah, I agree. I think in general, Avant are winning games just by playing well together and being aggressive. And Shelby, as always, is the facilitator of that. You can aggressively invade the jungle with Shelby on Lulu or LeBlanc. It's not really going to matter here.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look to be the case. However, looking across the other side of the rift, does this change how maybe Hellions target and try and get something more going in that bottom lane? This is the second time we're going to see a new bottom lane out of Avant. Obviously, in the last game, they put a lot of focus there. Is it time for Hellions to kind of match that across the rift?
I actually think the solo laners for Hellions are the ones that really need to step it up here. We've seen Ryu play amazing. Bomb is someone that keeps getting farm and doing well in lanes, but not carrying. And the solo laners just need to carry. Frey and Jenny are playing fine, but it is not an 80 carry matter. That is your solo laner's job.
And this is exactly how I feel about the Hellions, is that they have really good individual mechanical players, but the issue is getting them to perform all at the same time. And it's that consistency. We kind of go back to, they're unable to 5v5. They don't look like they're synergizing quite as well. It's starting to move up. But I think it just comes down to, if mid lane is performing, then everyone else falls off. If top lane's performing, then no one else is performing. They just need at least 2 lanes to perform at the same time. And a lot of that, frankly, does start with Cookie. The fact that he's losing so much pressure in the jungle, he's unable to be an enabler for his top and his mid lane, is affecting their performance.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it didn't have that much of an impact in the early game, going once again with the Graves as opposed to something like the Elise or Lee Sin. Do want to point out that the Gangplank, once again, I don't know what it is about Oceanic Gangplanks. We don't seem to win that often. Another Gangplank pick up, another loss.
I mean, like I said, it's the perfect champion for Ryu and for Hellions because they love split pushing, and Gangplank lets you get online super late when you want to and still apply pressure all the time. For me, it's just a little too greedy to play Kassadin and Gangplank in every game. Go Abyssal first before Roller on Kassadin, which is what Bomb did there, and expect to do anything in the mid game, which is exactly where Avant want to punish you.
Yeah, it does seem to actually be the case there with that. So as we look across the board, Hellions have had some success team fighting. They utilize it a lot around Fiora. We've seen that the Malaz is willing to pick up the Malphite in the top lane and try and get things going there. Is this something that you think that now Hellions look to try and bait? Get Fiora back in that top lane, start winning that 1v1, because we saw Ryu having a lot of troubles and having a little bit more of that team fight presence.
I just think Pastry already hit it on the head. If you're going to play the Gangplank and prioritize them, which we've seen them do over and over again, you just can't follow it up with the Cassidy. You can't have that late game scaling threat and not have some sort of bridge to get you through the early and the mid game, especially when your jungler's underperforming. Because the bridge really was Cookie on that Graves.
Yeah, that game really just snowballed out of control. It was Cookie sort of struggling there on the Graves and couldn't get anything else done from there. For me, if Bomb has teleport, I also want to see him use it. Like, your team is losing. Join your lanes and try something. Yes, you're probably not going to get too much done because you are still scaling as Cassidy, but like the team needs to play together, and everyone stood in their empty lanes farming, and that's not how you're going to beat Avant.
I'd love to see Bomb pick up Victor, in all honesty. I feel like it would compensate for a lot of their problems that they're having. The fact that, their 5v5 isn't as synergized as it needs to be. Victor is very easy to execute in a 5v5. You just kind of drop all of your spells and watch it explode. He's going to bring massive amounts of wave clear, so if they want to continue to look for that late game into Gangplank, they at least have a champion that can stall out the game long enough for them. And he has a fantastic mid-game power spike, so he can act as that bridge.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way about his Anivia, to be honest. Similar veins, but we know that he can play the Anivia and has that immediate hard CC. If you are one of the carries of the team, looks like that might be a route to go. But you really have to give a lot of credit to Avant. This is a team that we said maybe is in a little bit of trouble, making a lot of roster swaps, but in that game, they looked arguably more cohesive than they had in the week before.
This is the thing about Avant that's really impressed me when I've seen them, is that every single time they win a game, no matter if it's against Chiefs or Hellions or whoever it is, they're just playing aggressively. That's a team mentality thing, and Avant just needs to keep bringing that.
Yeah, it certainly does look to be the case. However, guys, we're going to find out if they can, because we're about to get into game 2. So here's Atlas and Rusty.
Thank you very much, Spawn, and we are back at the casting station. I want to go back to the first question that was asked by Spawn on the desk. Who would be your pro player duo partner, Rusty?
So I would pick Carbon again. The reason that I want to pick Carbon is a very funny thing, and it's not because I just don't want to pick Spawn. Of course, I duo with him all
Spawn's
the
getting
time.
upset in the background.
Carbon has a tendency to grunt randomly when he's doing jungle camps, so it keeps you aware and makes you think that he's team fighting. He's actually just doing his red buff, so it keeps you alert. And that's why I want to duo with him.
That's good. Everything is just a battle.
Yeah.
On Summoner's Rift. Beautiful stuff. I, of course, would duo with Christmas Trees, formerly of Sudden Fear in last year's OPL. But we are into Champions Select, ladies and gentlemen. So Ryu going to be starting us off on the blue side with his first Hellion ban. So they are going to take us through. It is going to be Poppy taken away once again. And we'll see what AV do now that they actually have bans at their disposal.
Yeah, they can get rid of a couple of champions. Gangplank is one that needs to be thought of, but maybe not addressed.
Maybe just don't worry about it. Of course, it's only Legacy that's really been able to make it work. Of course, one victory for Ryu on the champion, but wasn't all that convincing anyway for the Hellions, so maybe just leave it and say, well, whatever.
So it's interesting. I think that Ryu's quite a good Gangplank, and the reason that it didn't work in that last game, pretty much what the desk alluded to was composition firstly, but also the fact that Avant played to what was going to bridge the Gangplank and Cassidy in the late game and basically cut it off at its roots, and that was dive bottom and keep the jungler down. Kept them busy, rotate around the map, and honestly it was Avant's game that they won, not Hellion's that they lost.
Interesting. Well, we'll see how that one does change, as something is going to have to, as Kalista is going to be banned away. A lot of respect given to Stark in his second game now of the OPL after picking up a pentakill in game number 1. Of course, how many players have just jumped into a pro league and picked up a penta in their first game? I'm thinking like Bjergsen, EULCS on Syndra.
Safe to say not many, that's for sure.
Yeah, probably not. I think Wild Turtle as well springs to mind.
It's a rare thing.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Both of the TSM players at the time. Interesting stuff. Fiora is going to be banned away though, so Ryu not going to be on his split pusher of choice. They're on the top side of the map.
Yeah, so not going to have the Fiora, might even force him to default to Gangplank. Possibly just because he does want to split push, Rise the staple, take it away from Ryu ban. And one thing
I find it so weird that you have to default to a Gangplank now in this particular matchup that we're talking about. But Malphite is going to be taken away. I like that ban, as Malaz was just too huge for Ryu to deal with.
I mean, he 1v1 to GP as Malphite in the top lane, so it says a lot about what a Malphite is capable of. You can't out-split push him once he stacks resistances. You can't out-teamfight a Malphite generally because he's just going to get onto the backline and you can't kill him. Better off taking it off the board.
Yeah, well, they are going to as Avant. The final ban comes through. It is going to be Lulu taken off the Rift. Of course, Destiny now moving back to support. May have potentially played it, but now it's wrecked there in the mid lane. So the things like LeBlanc, the Cassidans, back in his hands. But Hellions, of course, banning away the Corki last time. They are going to pick that one up first round this time here, as Frey could play it, or Bomb, of course, there in the mid lane as well.
I mean, that's an interesting choice here from Hellions. They're leaving open the Atlas Star as well. Something that is of quite high priority. And I most like the Lulu ban here from Avant. They played it because they were first pick. They could look towards it in the middle lane. But now that they're on red side and it's not Destiny playing mid-rect, He loves to play these assassins. He's got Zed, he's got LeBlanc, he's got everything that can just get in your face and cause havoc. Lulu's very good at diffusing that.
Yeah, well, Malaz doing his cycle thing one more time. Is Chelby considering the Graves now? And look, one thing that I didn't quite like about the Gangplank was the fact that they picked it up with that Graves in the jungle. There's like no CC that you gain from that. So as far as that duo is concerned, they just don't have a lot to offer. So maybe with a different composition, things could work out. Something like a Heimerdinger, perhaps. I mean, shout-outs to Pastry Time. He'd be psyched about that. But Alistair is going to be locked in, and the Graves as well.
Yeah, so they lock in the Alistar, they pick up the Graves, taking it away from Cookie as well. Getting rid of another potential mid-game threat next to that of the Corki. I feel like it's going to be a Frey Corki as well, Bomb. Don't know if he can play it. Doesn't feel like it's something that he wants to be anyway, even if he can play that champion. And picking the Graves forces Cookie into one of two directions. It's the Lee Sin route or the Rek'Sai route. It's possible that he goes to Elise, but not as recommended. And I feel like Cookie probably should just go Rek'Sai.
Yeah, just pick it up. Of course, hovering it at the moment is Bomb now to make his consideration. Would make sense if he picked up something like a support, perhaps.
Yeah, you could afford
Leave
to go
everything
support.
flexy.
Or you could even just, I mean, Corki could be left up as a flex, so yeah, maybe go for like a Trundle.
Yeah, wouldn't be giving too much away if they locked in the Janna, because I have a feeling they'll be playing Janna. As that one is going to be the hover. It is game number 8 for Denian on Janna. And look, why not? Because he's been doing okay.
Why not? Janna's a good champion as well. Denian's been doing well on Janna.
Yeah.
The fact that he's had a ban away from him says a lot. And it's a pure disengage against the split push composition. Plays as one of the 3 members in a 1-3-1 strat. You can't really dive a Janna. You can't really dive a member next to the Janna either. It's just the concept that deny them from doing that. Let your side lanes push. Janna's the perfect pick.
Well, right now, Rekt is hovering Jin and Stark Devane. Man, that'd be cool. It's like, you know, we've had these triple AD carry comps. Theoretically, it might happen, as Jin could somewhat fit in. I just have to let my dreams be dreams, I think, at this stage, as Rekt is now back to a Shen option. New Shen, of course. As Stark moves back to a Lucian.
Yeah.
See what AV do to round out their comp. As Shen's going to be locked in. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, it means it is going to be Shen in the top lane as well, because we do have the Alistar here for AV. Shen, he's been known to have a weaker laning phase, missing a bit of sustain from that Q in particular. Lots of questions need to be asked now. Helions, does Ryu know how to play against it firstly?
Yeah.
What is Ryu going to play now that Fiora is not available against the Taunt, which was the easiest way to defuse that 1v1? We don't know what Ryu is entirely capable of with his champion pool outside of Fiora GP.
And Rise.
And Rise, which is always banned. He's got a couple tricks up his sleeve, but how diverse is he willing to go to actually win laning phase and look to split push against the Shen?
Well, the only champions that he's played so far in the OPL are Gangplank, Fiora, and Lulu, and the Fiora Lulu have been banned away as Gangplank looks to be where he's planning on defaulting to, and it looks like it is going to be Frey on that Corki in the bottom lane as Ari's going to be picked up now for Bomb there in mid. So AV, Rekt, what does he decide to go with? Could possibly be the LeBlanc, could be the Zed, who knows? Could be Shen. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be a Shen. Helions finished out their team composition. They've got Ari, the only champion on their team besides maybe, I guess, Cookie to an extent. Janna Tornado if you want to get aggressive. Crowd control doesn't exist is what I'm saying from this Helions lineup. Not easy to do. And I honestly, like, it may just be a hover, but I like the Morgana pick. They have no crowd control. It's just deny all of it. Nothing can hit them now. They'd be an invincible unit.
It's Destiny hovering support champions and AD carries and top laners, so not sure whether they've quite made up their mind just
I
yet.
think he's trolling you, Atlas.
I know. Maybe alluding to the fact that things are relatively flexible on their side, but Zed is going to be locked in, of course. The Rekt special that he's more than happy to pick up time and time again, and we'll see how they go here. Largely physical-based comp, but there's a bit of magic damage here and there in, what, Shen's sword now as it comes back to him?
There's somewhat small amounts of magic damage from this AV side. What I actually look forward to the most here is that we know Zed is picked into Gangplanks because you can just kill him once you get your first item. You spike a little bit earlier and you spike harder in a 1v1 trade, and then they've got a Shen ult to ensure that it goes well, because even if it starts to look like it's going bad, just use the ultimate, keep him alive. That hasn't changed on Shen at all.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And I love that you pointed out the lack of hard CC as well. You pick Zed,
what you're scared of most of the time is those big cooldowns that can really stop you in your tracks and ruin your fun. There's not as much of that available here to the Hellions, so they're going to have to play very, very smart around their Z in the mid lane. It could be scary.
Also forces QSS itemization. A lot of interesting things need to be bought now from AV, and the damage is there, could be reduced, and they won't have crowd control to boot. So I feel like if Hellions or AV get ahead, generally they're going to stay in that direction. So it's a very snowbally map across the board here.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, but we want to hear from you guys. Do you think that Hellions can bring it back and possibly go for that third game victory? Use that hashtag HLN win, or if you think that Avantgarde are going to be able to take it 2-0, no problem, despite rosters. Who even cares about that? We're Avant, we're going to be able to take it to use that hashtag AV win and let us know. Of course, if you have any other sort of things that you want to let us know, talk about your Joy partners, all of that sort of stuff, use that hashtag IMOPL.
And of course, what a first game from Stark in particular.
Oh, man.
Gets a pentakill on his birthday, I will add. So happy birthday to him. He made his own present. Wrapped
right
it
he did.
himself.
Well, his team helped. Like to
but
say,
look,
you know,
he
they
got
built
the
a comp
pentakill.
around him. That's so cute.
Yeah. He
The
did
comp
well,
they
though.
made was the wrapping paper to the present that he got for his birthday. Thank you very much, Ivan. It's Denian going to auto-attack a cow.
I know Destiny wanted to flash then.
I wanted him to flash then.
Of course, AV now just pushing in. They're going to secure some vision. This time, difference to game one is that they are grouping up and invading. Place down the lane swap vision as it is.
Yeah.
I guess now referred to.
Something really, really interesting that I want to bring up is the fact that this is the first time that we've had the new Shen in the OPL. Of course, second time that we've seen Shen, as Ejim did play that one, but that was the old one.
Yeah.
Now Malai's going to be taking the new Shen into the top lane. Heard different reports about his laning capabilities. What is your opinion?
Well, it's
on
been
how it
known that it's weaker. That's the thing. So you're
Really?
missing sustain
is? I've
on
heard that it's better.
Your damage is higher.
Okay.
Sustain is weaker, and that's the trade-off. You need to...
Oh, baby.
Oh,
That
gets
ward,
past.
not quite in place.
Yeah. And that's the risk people run when they actually place these wards down. You might be expecting laziness. You should expect better in the pro leagues.
Oh, the late invade onto the duo. So they are going to get over here. Shelby in with a fair bit of damage, but they don't have the CC just yet. They are going to be able to at least lock down the big Krug. Shelby helps Stark pick that one up, so experience advantage so far for the AV bottom lane.
And I feel like maybe Hellions won't know that it was an experience advantage because they saw Shelby there. You might assume that Shelby took it. But he's going to take the red buff. Will be perfectly fine because he is Graves after all.
And he also has the machete this time.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's a different jungler, which might be why. But the immediate level 2 causes Helion's bottom lane to show respect. So net gain pretty much everywhere here.
Yeah, Destiny, of course, not quite at that level 2 just yet. Let's see how this top lane goes. As Taunt comes in, bit of extra damage there from Malaz as he's got the extra attack speed as well after that Q connect. I like new Shen. I just feel like he's a little bit more interactive, you know? And that W is just oppressive.
Yeah, look, you do press the same amount of buttons, but definitely much more interactive or mechanically intensive. So you need to make sure after you taunt that you're behind them, so the the sword can go through them, and you get that bonus damage and attack speed with all of your auto attacks. And we're seeing what a Shen is capable of in a good way at the moment. Of course, the wave clear, not ever going to be a strong point of Shen's. The trading at the moment is the strong point, and he just doesn't have the sustain to deal with what is going to be any other top laner, of Gangplank in particular, though. Pretty good matchup for Malaz.
Having a look at the mid lane at the moment is wrecked. Losing out a little bit as far as the trades are concerned, but picking up a fair bit of the minions. And the bottom lane is going just fine. Just people hanging out. Of course, that extra experience advantage now equalized by the Hellion. Destiny's going to hit level 3. Denian gets knocked up. I spoke a little bit too soon. Eye of the Storm going to keep Denian alive for now as Destiny's taking the brunt of the focus. Switching over to Stark quite nicely there as Frey. So healthy now in this trade.
Yeah, absolutely. This bottom lane already starting to show some control. Corki Jana, pretty hard to mess with.
Yeah.
I will say. And AV between Destiny and Stark. Destiny now moving to the support role. This is his first game this split, I believe, that we've seen him in support. He was mid last game.
He was 80 before that.
Yeah, 80 every game before that. And it's just actually standard laning. Standard slow pace start here from both of these teams. No level 4 dives. to be seen just yet.
Yeah, no crazy shenanigans just yet, as Malaz still pushing up here in this top lane, but Ryu more than happy to have a wave heading towards him. We'll see exactly when this game is going to take off on either direction. Now the taunt's going to come in. Ryu actually, Grasp the Undying coming down. Malaz actually with a lot of extra damage. That magic tick really doing some work here for this new Shen.
Yeah, also placing the zone around him to deny a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Every time he trades, it's forcible, and you don't lose anything in response. So it's good play here from Malaz, showing he knows what the new Shen is capable of, at least thus far. A lot of the stuff remains the same though, the taunt and the ult in particular. So we'll see how he continues.
Yep, Chelby really backing here on the top side as Malaz does have all of his energy. Could possibly go in for a Shadow Dash if he wants to, but not going to pick anything up just yet.
Yeah.
Oh, Chelby actually stopped his back. This is interesting.
Kind of wants it. He does kind of want it. Malaz is letting the wave push back to him. So if Ryu tries anything cute, you have to remember with like a 12 stack of minions, you start to get overconfident, or at least place a ward.
Oh, he is going to face check as he...
Oh, no!
Oh, no, the taunt flash didn't quite work. End of the line comes down. They might have enough damage. Chelby still wants it. He's just tanking up the turret as Chelby picks up the aggro and somehow gets out of turret range. That was so close. Cookie flashes over the wall, picks up the answering kill with, in fact, just a Prey Seeker. But, man, that was weird.
Chelby does super well to kite around the edges of that turret and the aggro. Of course, timing with turret auto attacks, it can change a little bit sporadically. Cookie is there right on time, though, to ensure a trade. And they do take him down in response. So a 1-for-1. But it goes to show just how far ahead Malaz and Chelby seem to be. Even with the taunt missing, which honestly was the kill.
Yeah.
They force a trade here. Just gets out by dashing. You can see the direction he dashed. Immediately out of the aggro of the turret. And there's Cookie.
Yeah, nice positioning from Cookie as AV have shoved this bottom lane completely. Ryu and Malaz still fighting here, but you can see level 6 gained by both, and it has worked out quite nicely here for Malaz, who's got his Balmy Cinder. You mentioned wave clear being an issue. Probably wants to grab that Sunfire Cape as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Have to at least keep it at the Balmy Cinder. Work towards his next items. Of course, we have seen a couple of unique item builds with ZZ Rots and the Banner of Commands. Yeah, pretty good at keeping Ryu busy, we'll say, if he goes for the Rot Portal. And you can leave it at a Balmy Cinder, honestly, if you want.
Yeah, we have seen a lot do that. Of course, you can utilize the extra armor from the Sunfire Cape, so building that up earlier against Ryu would make a bit of sense to me.
Yeah, it's not a bad decision by any means. It's just that there are other creative options available to you.
I like it.
The best thing about the Balmy Cinder. Yeah, you can.
It's all about the juicy options. As Chelby is now making his way towards his enemy jungle, but level 6 is already being claimed here by Cookie. Chelby not going to find anything while he's lurking around. Bomb might be the next target. Rect has hit level 7. Deathmark, of course, available, but he hasn't been back to buy.
Yeah. Well, neither of them have been back. And Bomb, honestly, has been doing really well. He's found himself 15 CS ahead.
Yeah.
And what has essentially been a 1v1. Shelby kind of pokes his head around. Cookie had a bit of invisible pressure, knowing that he was topside after the kill onto Shelby. Starts to add up to smaller details, but Bomb overall has actually had control of this lane, and you have to give him credit here. He's doing well.
It certainly is. Rect actually missing a lot of that farm underneath the turret. As Frey's going to get headbutt pulverized. Destiny finds his way in. Valkyrie going to be used. As the GPL goes down, Destiny may be in trouble. Doesn't have the Unbreakable Will just yet. Stark just hitting level 6. Now has the culling. As Bomb's going for the dive underneath this turret. Rect is going to get hit by the charm. That looks almost too easy now as AV managed to pick up a kill in the top lane.
And that's absolutely because it was too easy. Bomb's starting to get ahead and feeling confident. Rekt didn't even use his flash. He popped the ultimate to try and get out and pays for that. And that was honestly just Bomb recognizing exactly where Rekt's ultimate lands him. Then he's behind you, hits the charm, gets out safely. And that's just well executed mechanically from Bomb. But Rekt overstayed. And of course, we are seeing what happened in the top lane. Ryu, rightly so, getting a lot of attention because Malaz is controlling him. Well executed dive puts Shelby 2-1.
Yeah, keeping the Gangplank down, also another strategy that we've seen utilized. But this Ahri could become a problem. Shelby now taking down his red buff.
I mean, Ahri's already going to become a problem. Looking at how AV will play the strategies in their mid game, Rekt will go to deal with Ryu Ryu's behind, so sure, Rex could still be okay, regardless of how he goes in laning phase. But what is a Shen going to do against Denari? Nothing. So Shen will probably split in the other lane. What are the rest of the team meant to do?
Wow, that was so beautifully done by Rek. Dodges everything from Bomb. Manages to trade in his favor. Now just holding the extra spell vamp from his Q, and it would just be fine. But that was cute play.
Absolutely wrecked. Mechanically quite a strong player. Destiny doesn't let people recall. That's
No,
what
it
we're
doesn't
learning
like it.
right now, yeah. It's a bit interesting. He's making it work. Of course, they got out-traded last time they tried it. This time they stopped the Janna. And honestly, all things considered, though, Rekt, he's mechanically quite sound. He's playing this middle lane as well as he can. He's still being out-traded by Bomb. The farm's still going in Bomb's favor. And it's an entire Morello Nomicon and about to be a blue buff compared to the components of a Ghost Blade.
Well, Melage has actually found Ryu once again here on this top side. Look at the damage from this Shen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that high, but at least he shrugs off anything that Ryu tries to take into this 1v1. But bullets on a ninja. Doesn't even matter.
Well,
Do you reckon he's more or less of a ninja?
He's less. He has a sword that stays in one spot. He's not even hidden in bushes.
That is true, and the fact that he's a ninja with a taunt just makes no sense. It's like, as a ninja, you don't tell people to attack you, like, ever.
The Blanc's more of a ninja, honestly, but anyway.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Yeah, looking for Rekt now as well. The Shadow is, of course, on cooldown. The ultimate goes in. Rekt's actually looking for something. Stand United comes down. Bomb! He's got the ultimate ticking. Malaz! Not even necessary as Rekt picks up the kill. Cookie now in trouble. Nice flash to get out of the headbutt. Pulverizes EV. Turn it around in the mid lane.
Ari and Zed in these one-on-one situations where they don't actually realize they're not one-on-one a lot of the time. But mechanically, Bomb, he misplayed. And mechanically, Rekt, he played it well. He got out with his life. And that's the back and forth that we're going to see between these two. It's the trial and error, honestly, of these 1v1s that they'll continue to have. Even if the rest of the team is there, you'll find that Zed and Ari, they're going to be trying to hit each other. And that's where it starts to go a bit awry. In this particular instance, Bomb, even after a successful dive, showing he knows how Zed works, he misplays. And Rekt is back in it.
Yeah, really, really nicely played. And I really love this matchup of mid laners as well, because they're two mid laners here in the OPL that just love laning phase. They just want to fight each other, and that's all they really think about. We heard Froskarin talking about it at length. The fact that Bomb just sort of never really wants to leave his lane and create pressure elsewhere. Just wants to dominate that one, and Rekt is fairly similar.
Rekt likes to dominate his lane. He likes to control the minions before he starts to disappear. I feel like Bomb just actually sets up a tent and just stays anywhere near that tent within like a 1,000 radius. So there's a little bit of conflicting differences.
Well, nice trade there from Freya's Phosphorus Bomb. Not going to quite find it, but Stark does have to be careful.
The differences between the Callista and the Lucian game as well aren't even this bottom lane, though they're still in trouble.
Yeah,
It's more the amount of pressure that Avant are putting down on this bottom lane. It doesn't exist anymore. Chelby's looking top. They're showing that they can play different styles here, AV, but they're sacrificing this bottom lane instead.
Yeah, Malaz and Shelby, they are going to be able to take down Harold and see what they use the extra pushing power to do, whether it's going to be shoved down the top lane or maybe look towards mid lane one more time. Stand United, 3/4 left of that cooldown, as Malaz is going to pick up the buff.
I mean, from what we've seen so far, it should be just push the top lane, focus the GP, get him down, and put him into a long lane, then look to Zed to dive him and keep control of vision on the top side of the map. Helion's, their reactive play will be very important in a scenario like this. How will they deal with Avant's pressure if that is what they choose to make happen? Cookie looks like he already understands that. He's clearing the vision.
Yeah, you can see Shelby, Rekt as well here in the mid lane, trying to stay off screen as much as possible. Just so that Bomb kept on his toes.
Not even sure that's the reason. I feel like it's solely because he knows that Cookie's nearby. It was ping
Ah, that's a good point.
when he was at the pink ward, the topside tribal. Shen's teleported bottom.
Yeah, looking for it here as Frey's trying to turn this one around. Gangplank ult's in there. Phosphorus Bomb down as well, but Frey may have overextended. The ultimate comes in from Denian, but is it going to be enough as Malaz right on top of him? The turret does fall down in the mid lane as Chelby might be able to pick up the kill on the Corki. The ultimate goes down. I mean, the knock-up, from Destiny. As Cookie's going to find his way in, but nothing gained here from AV, and they lose the turret in mid.
Yeah, they actually don't get a single thing, Avant, from that teleport besides summoner spells. Frey and Denian, granted, not really capable of staying in this lane after that.
it doesn't mean that AV can siege and make a trade either. They actually have to recall. And honestly, Hellions, they come out ahead from that, even if it's a small amount.
Well, mid lane out of turret as well has been seeing a lot of focus from both of these sides if we have anything to go on from game number 1. So, fantastically played from Hellions to make sure that they can disengage. They do have Janna, the disengage specialist,
Well, of
and
course.
Denian, the Janna lord of the Hellions.
I guess we call him a Janna specialist and by default a disengaged specialist.
Yeah, which is so strange given his history as an AD carry player.
Yeah, the I have flash, I'm using it forwards method.
Yeah.
Less effective on Janna, so of course he's reinvented his style as he has reinvented his position on the map.
Exactly. Well, Shelby looking for Bomb now as well. Does manage to land the smoke screen. The flash from Bomb was ridiculously well done, with the blind being included. But Pulverized, though, not going to be able to find it. And Destiny now has to slink back towards the bottom lane.
Yep, forcing the flash though unlocks Rekt and his confidence potentially in this lane.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to kill an Ahri with the ultimate getting 3 dashes, but nonetheless, it's one of the 4 that is now removed. One with the longest cooldown.
Very true. And the most instant.
Yeah.
Bomb now just going to be able to clear out some poppies, head back towards the
Could also mean he chose the flash opposed to ult. So prioritizing the kill threat that comes from the ult. Got 3 dashes instead of 4, maybe it's worthwhile.
That's a good point. We'll see how he plays it. Now that Rekt has made his way back towards the lane. Swiftness boost now completed as well as a couple of long swords. As Cookie's looking just to hold this wave as Ryu makes his way back up.
And you can see Shen is still the same old Shen. They're honestly just quality of life changes and a bit of a rework around the cube. His wave clear is still not amazing. Still needs to be noted that what now a Trinity Force has done for Ryu. Should be confidently able to clear waves, deny turrets from going down. And it's on Shelby to see if he wants to make something happen top. Honestly, it's on Shelby to make the whole map happen, not just top.
Well, you can see Frey happy to do battle against the AV bottom lane now. This Corki well and truly at his power spike. The flash comes in though. There's the Stand United. Frey's going to get knocked back out of the piercing light there, unfortunately. But Stark is taking so much damage. Cannon Barrage not going to quite be enough as Shelby's in here as well. Denian's going to die, and Frey going to be the next target. Are they going to be able to find it there as the ultimate comes in? Cookie now definitely at a man disadvantage here on the bottom side. King's going down as Bomb and Rekt are making their way in. AV just tunneling onto this Rek'Sai as Destiny now turning his focus. You can see in comes Lucian back for more as the taunt goes down. Rekt picks up his second kill of the game. And AV now still want to go. The flash forward, Deathmark comes down. Cookie flashes out of the way, but not going to die as the pressure is well and truly on. And AV think that, all right, we got a power spike now. Let's just act on it.
Cookie does well to live, but the major difference is that Shen doesn't need his teleport to get into these fights. Keeps members alive, and it's easy work from Avant to ensure they get all of these kills on the board. No amount of disengage is going to save Denian from a situation like that. Bomb! Honestly, it was the communication of Avant that actually caught Ahri out of position. Doesn't have his flash to save him, and used the ultimate. One of them got cancelled and caught him out, and then the Taunter followed up and he just died within the duration. Rekt not even needing the ult, but Rekt pinged time and again, says Ahri's here, kill Ahri. 100% coordination from AV, they take him down. No flank able to come out from Hellions.
Big minion wave. Bomb is now going to be able to pick up in the mid lane, but communication issues, it's not something that we've actually spoken about so much this time, but it's definitely been a theme with the Hellions.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Hellions respected where Bomb's positioned, or Bomb didn't respect the call and was positioned too aggressively. 32 CS ahead working towards the Zonias. That's a strong Ahri, but an Ahri in a 1v4 situation is never really that strong.
That is a very good point. But the gold incredibly even at the moment as AV just able to pick up a little bit more farm very recently, but it was basically dead even. Hellions now looking for the Rift Herald.
You know, Shen's like the pick into Hellions. They have shown, and it was mentioned on the analyst desk, that Hellions have got one style. They want a split push. They want a 1-3-1 if it works for them, if they don't have a kill mid lane. And that's exactly what they're going to execute on every single time, but between a GP and a Shen, who split pushes better? I mean, Shen's never going to be out of lane. He's always going to be in a side lane. Can ult one way, teleport back if need be, or can just use one and save the other. If Ryu ever answers, he can't split push.
Shelby over the top here takes half of the health off Frey as AV all turn up at the same time. Cannon Barrage down one more time, but not going to find too much more as Shelby just moving all the way forward. Denian's going to die. Collateral damage comes in. Shelby wants more of the Cannon Barrage. Now Hellion setting up for a re-engage as the reset comes in. Wrecked gets immediately picked. No, not quite dead just yet as Deathmark comes in. Stand United down as well. Zonyas is there, and Wrecked is going to survive it. Bomb then gets knocked up, and Shelby gets the kill. The coordination from AV is looking beautiful as Shelby's just going to knock all the way over the door. And Frey is going to have to get out of there. Ryu now trying to find what he can, but Malaz is
so
just
tanky.
so tanky.
He's not going to go down. No way. But Shelby needs to be a little bit careful.
Not a lot of mana left as Cookie's now looking for it. Flash is going to have to be used. Stark now finds his way in as Destiny gets a fantastic triple knockup. The ultimate comes down from Stark, but it's a great heal out of Frey to keep everyone alive. They do get Destiny. Can they get some more? As Hellions are going to back away, but man, that was messy.
That was super rough here, Avant. It looked like they were going to turn it back around. Recht had almost no right living in that particular engage where they caught him out of position. He does get the Shen ultimate, and it felt like they just got a pick. They were looking for more, and then they continued to fight. They continued to trade, and someone had to die for it in the end. Destiny sacrificing himself shows that he's still a support player.
Yep.
And AV, it's not a bad trade by any means, but it still could have probably been better.
Well, Wrecked, you can see itemizing now for the 1v1 a little bit more as Blade of the Ruin King, Blade of the Ruin King coming in next. Yep. Seen less and less of it.
It's hard to consider an efficient item when you think about the fact that you can just use damage, basically, amplify yourself. W is percentage based, and Blade of the Ruin King doesn't give a whole lot of AD as a raw value.
Yep.
But the Blade of the Ruin King, obviously you can use the active once you've popped your ultimate. Gives you a bit of extra sustain with that health back and move speed, most importantly, against an Ahri. There's a lot of merit to it. It's never a bad choice.
Whoa, nice double knock up there from Destiny as the fight started off immediately. Cookie able to get himself in there, but Destiny just showing that, yeah, I got my buttons and I can press them.
Yep. Of course, the Janna Tornado, the biggest deal there, disengaging, making sure that no one was able to follow up the Alistair. And this is the real battle. And I say that a bit of jest. Of course, it's a Shen after all, but this is actually the real battle. Because if Shen can keep GP down, then Shen has a lot more he can do, and there's no way for a Gangplank to stop his teleports.
Yeah. Well, we'll see exactly what Malaz is going to be able to get done. Of course, 7 out of the 8 kills he's managed to be a part of this game. Shen doing a bunch of work right now. Man, is that going to be a Titanic Hydra? Malaz? It's probably going to be a Sterix Gauge, isn't it?
Well, it could well be.
I'd love that.
Well, like Titanic Hydra could be, because Sterix Gauge doesn't build out of a giant spell. So another health crystal. So there's a chance.
Yeah. I'd love it. It's really, really cool. But we'll see exactly what Malaz wants to do. Of course, will help his split push quite a lot.
That's one of the easier. A much better option.
Or a banner of command. Or both.
Well, I'm thinking into read. Okay, I'm thinking about it.
Yes.
The game. One gives armor.
Yeah. Okay. Wasn't Aziza on a portal give both?
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the other one gives them armor.
And yeah. I just need to stop. Okay. Well, Bomb. He has of course completed both the Morellonomicon and the Zhonya's Hourglass from previously. I haven't actually been back and purchased any more items for quite some time though. His Deadman's Plate is now done on Cookie. Sort of got his baseline items for this wreck side. And you see Chubby moving towards that Sterix. Malaz maybe in trouble. The knockup comes in from almost all fronts as now he has to flash out of the way. The W's down. And Malaz is going to die. Bomb's going to pick up the kill with the ultimate. And using the Stand United was basically unnecessary, I have a feeling. And Ryu just going to clear out this mid lane. Very, very effective.
Yeah, they managed to deny any mid turret going down, and they trade the top turret. Lots of positives here for Hellions at this point in the game, and AV not respecting. Hellions are continuing to push.
Yeah, this inhibitor turret is in so much trouble now as Rect is making his way over. They're pinging out the cow that's going to make his way in, and Hellions say, well, we're not going to overstay our welcome. Destiny looking for more as Lucian was able to get back to base. But Destiny, nothing to happen from that one. It just blows the ultimate.
Just a giant hiccup across the board here from Avant. Not respecting that Hellions could have continued to push. It's a mindset of, I just need one last wave. Just one more wave. It's never the wave that you want. you start to lose more of your base in response. And wow, it's a big mistake from Avant. They can't afford to do that again.
Yeah, well, I mean, is it not moving Rekt out of this mid lane early enough here to try and answer the Ryu split? Or do they have the perfect answer in Malaz and AV just need to play a little bit smarter around this map?
Well, it's a question of what they actually prefer. I mean, Malaz can deal with Ryu quite effectively. He is finding himself a bit behind, though, especially with that farm difference.
Oh, hello! The Rocket picks up the Dragon, and Hellions say, well, thank you very much for our first. That's, yeah, fine. You guys prepped it quite nicely, and we'll take it and move on.
And it just goes from bad to worse for Avant-Garde in this game. Maybe they want Destiny back in the mid lane.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing.
But I don't think it is, but again, Hellions, they're just going from strengths now. They've got 2 big items on their GP. His split pushing, even his team fighting, is dangerous because he's doing a lot of damage. Zonya's on bomb, able to deal with any threat. Oh my god.
Yeah, Rekt is in so much trouble. By that, I mean he's dead. Teleport going to get cancelled here by Malaz. He's now not going to have that option. Shelby's making his way around, yeah. They're going to try and get rid of the gangplank. But
they'll lose bottom if they continue to harass Ryu. Because Hellions, again, they're a Janna Corki. They take down these minion waves and turrets like they're nothing. Like a hot knife through butter, honestly. And AV finally have to start respecting this.
The Hellion Death Squad just moving around the map, and they're getting rid of all of the structures. Stark makes his way in. Destiny with a decent knockup, but Bomb's here now as well. Cookie wants to find the knockup, but it may actually be an overstay, as Frey as well does have to get out. Shelby around the back, and he's going to make things okay here for AV. The Hellions not going to lose anything. They are going to back away.
They're just finding themselves almost leaps and bounds ahead. And Ryu on this GP is one of the biggest deals, honestly. He's a monster.
Yeah.
240 CS opposed to the 180. What is going to be a Titanic Hydra. You have to question what they're actually looking to do here, AV. Why not send Rekt over there earlier with that 1-item spike to deal with Ryu? Have the Shen ult around and try and run a 1-3-1 strategy themselves. Is it because you're playing Hellions at their own game? That comes down to a drafting fault above all else.
Well, going to take away the Gromp from Cookie, which is quite upsetting. Destiny going to get pressured out of the enemy jungle. But yeah, AV just look like they're not playing with the same level of knowledge of what they want to do in this game.
They just look confused.
Yeah.
They're not making proper decisions. And I mean, finally, they're starting to threaten the split push, but the one time we saw Rekt attempt to do it, he got killed by the special delivery from Corki. And it's just going from bad to worse here for AV. Their next decision's the vital one, though. If they make another mistake, it could be an inhibitor, and it could start to bleed their turrets and their base in its entirety.
Well, Spooky Ghosts go out. AD carry and mid are going to be detected as Titanic Hydra now completed by Malaz, and Destiny has his back stopped now in the brush. Cookie gonna find the knock-up and the cow. He uses the ultimate. Massive knock-up on a 3 members. This could be the turnaround here for AV. Malaz already gets rid of Frey. So much damage now down as Denian. He had to use the ult to try and disengage, but it's not gonna be enough. Cookie flashing out of the way, but Stark wants it. The shutdown comes in on the Rek'Sai. And Hellions, no answer now to AV's hard engage from the Destiny bait.
Destiny hits a massive flash pulverize. Malaz follows that with a taunt. And AV, they do find themselves at a point of power with their team fighting. Need to respect, though. Can't see Hellions.
Yeah, the cannon barrage comes down. Massive barrel damage onto the minions. Ryu says, yeah, no, you ain't see.
No. GP with those 2 big items makes life very difficult for the AV crew. We are going to see this team fight again, and Destiny forced to pop the ultimate. Actually just gets the perfect engage. Hellions, I'm going to say gifting them a silver platter, essentially, as the only thing keeping Hellions in this was the Zonias from Bomb denying the taunt out of Malaz. The rest of the team, they just get crumbled down. So good from AV. Their team fighting is their point of power, and against Hellions, who they show they can either split push or team fight, could be confining them to one option.
Yeah, well, AV, they now know that that's what they need to do. Shelby trying to clear out some vision here around the Baron pit. Maybe once again that the Baron could be the option here for AV. Worked for them in game number 1. We'll see whether it can for game number 2. Teleports up across the board. Both top laners with that one. Stand United still about a third to go as far as that cooldown.
There's two lines of thought for this, though, Atlas. It's that Hellions are playing Avant's game on blue side, and it worked. We know that it worked, but how will Avant react to it this time in response?
Yeah.
Because they know exactly how it works. The problem is, look at top lane. That's an open inhibitor and a giant stack of minions.
Destiny going to get charmed. Just uses his ultimate to get out of the way. Cookie may be caught out here. Goes down to about half health. Looking for the re-engage now as Denian uses the ultimate, keeping everyone healthy. Massive damage from the Zed there onto everyone as it's just disengaged City.
But they're on the wrong side of the map. Avant need to get to that inhibitor. Thankfully they do.
Yeah, zoned away from the inhibitors. Rex may actually need to use the Shadow to get out of the way. Does so. He's going to be okay. It's Destiny now moving through that ultimate. Now, of course, on cooldown. As Malaz going to get knocked up out of the Shadow Dash. Now moving in. We'll see whether AV can start anything up or whether Hellions can pressure down this inhibitor.
Yeah.
Looks like they don't want the team fight.
And let the games begin, right? Back and forth, utilizing the Baron control that you get on the blue side of the map. Trying to find objectives and looking for picks as Malaz is about to find 3 of them.
Yeah, Charm lands first. Malaz actually getting melted down much quicker than he would like. The shield comes in, but is it going to be enough? Frey's going to die. The death mark is now on Denian, and he is going to fall down. Zed picks up that kill, and AV just moves straight to this Baron. You can see they're trying to make a play here, but Bomb, he's going to go back to base.
This
Of course,
feels
not a whole lot of
desperate.
health. This is really, really interesting as Cannon Barrage comes down one more time. Stark, does he have enough damage now? He's right in the front line as the barrel is going to secure the kill onto the cow. And AV may have to back away.
It feels desperate from Avant to go for that Baron at all. They had no reason to. They made 2 good picks. They just need to consolidate vision and start to work themselves back into this game. Instead, they play against a GP ultimate and Ahri ultimate at the Baron in a very confined area. It's just a big mistake.
It's just a weird game, Rusty. Real weird. This distortion has been completed now on Malaz. He's going to have that teleport and flash available a little bit more readily. But Hellions now moving around, looking at starting off the Dragon, grabbing whatever they can on this map. As the reset is put in place by AV. And Ryu is just looking so big now. Barrel's going to go off. Not going to find anyone here as Shelby. He just might be caught out of position. Steric's Gauge goes off, but the Stand United, will it be enough? No, it's not. No Shen to arrive in this fight right now, and that is the jungler dead. This could mean Baron for Hellions and possibly the endgame push because that top door is open.
That charm from Bomb was sick as well. It made sure that Shelby was stuck near the team. Had his flash up. Couldn't even use it to get to safety. So it's just really well played again from this Ahri, and Hellions now they do move to that Baron. AV again, desperate. Can they stop it?
Stark does have the culling over the top, but they're a little bit split here on the side of AV. Destiny looking for it. Another massive knock-up comes in as Deathmark comes down as well. Malaz looking for some taunts, but doesn't quite find it. Ryu, massive, just destroys the Zed, and the shutdown comes in. Not a whole lot of damage left now for AV as Malaz trying to get over the top and do something, but he's the last man standing. The Shen runs straight into a cannon barrage. Triple kill comes down for Bomb, and Hellions are taking us to game number 3 by the looks of things, because they got no one dead, and it's just Shelby.
But they choose to go mid lane instead of going top to the open inhibitor. Shows with this much time left, they want to work around having a minion wave, at least get 2 inhibitors. There's a very real chance that they can try and end this game. See if they can. Shelby.
Oh, the charm. Not going to be enough as Joey flashes out of the way, but there may be enough minions here for Hellions to finish this game. They've got so much damage with Frey and Ryu there. Multiple Trinity Forces, multiple procs. As the Nexus now at half health, Ryu just moving around this one. They are going to be able to pick it up. And Hellions take down game number 2. 10,000 gold lead, even though the scoreline as far as those kills are concerned, still 12-12. Nicely played by Hellions to find their way back into the series.
Absolutely. They bring it back to a 1-1 situation. Yeah. And after that game 1, it didn't feel like it was going to do that. But Hellions, they do buy back.
Yeah, it was a very, very interesting game. And I really want to hear what our analysts have to say. So let's throw it over to the desk and get their opinions on what just happened.
Oh, thanks, Atlas. Thanks, Atlas. I want to know what we have to say as well. That was beautiful. But they did come back. Hellions able to get the 1-1 in a pretty surprising turnaround here. Want to bring it back to something that we mentioned. You know, we didn't like the double scaling composition. Instead, get an aggressive mid laner. Hellions do exactly that and just change the tempo of the game.
Yeah, the pressure change there from Bomb makes honestly all the difference there. He had a great lane up against Rekt, winning the lane effectively with a little bit of help, but not really too much. It's definitely a tricky matchup that I think for analysts swings back and forth. For me, I think the way Bomb played it, he had initiative the whole time in the lane, and it shows. Bomb is just way better when he's actually online earlier.
Yeah, looked completely like a different player when he's on a proactive mid laner. He got advantage in the mid, had the 1v1 kill. He was able to translate that pressure elsewhere in the map. So looks so much better on Ahri. Please, Bomb, continue to play Ahri.
Yeah, it certainly did look to be the case. And the other thing it allowed is Ryu to continue to scale up in one of those side lanes. We mentioned the fact that Shen did a good job of holding him down early. Karsus kept going back towards it, but I really would have liked to see that switch of Zed into the side lane, because the longer Gangplank does what Gangplank was doing in that game, it just becomes a ticking time bomb.
I mean, that's the thing, right? We've seen Zed into Gangplank quite a few times now, but when you don't have the items, you can't fight the Gangplank, and that was the issue there. We've seen Choo-Choos do it successfully, but when you're behind in lane, which is kind of what happened there in the mid for Rekt, you just can't afford to go try and outsplit push Gangplank.
I think this speaks to kind of a larger problem with Avant, and it's their mid-game shot calling. We've seen this coming of back-to-back. Now, they did win the first game, but kind of in that mid-game when they traded the mid-tier tower and top tower for bot tower was the incorrect call. This time, again, they just look so disorganized in mid-game. Again, you didn't have the Gangplank into the Zed matchup. They also had a rush on top versus mid, and they lost it because
they lost both.
Yeah, because Gangplank was able to stand there, which allowed Hellions to open up that top inhibitor. So it's like they lose all direction as soon as that first tier tower goes down.
Yeah, it certainly did look to be the case. You know, they lost the inhibitor turret so early in the game, and it meant they kind of had to force. I want to pull up a replay on your screen. It was really significant for me because this shows what Hellions using Gangplank properly look like. It starts off bad, but Ryu turns this around.
Rusty really talked about it too, kind of during the cast, and it's just you never really want to group up in small choke points against a Gangplank, and it just speaks to the power of that. So we can go ahead and roll the clip. Okay, so Destiny actually does fairly decent right here, but I think that they burn a lot of their cooldowns in chasing the Hellions down. And as soon as the Baron comes down, you already got 2 picks. Why would you ever turn towards the Baron? Because you're effectively still fighting a 4v4 at this point, or a 4v5, because the Baron is acting one of your members. And then it's just grouping up barrel Gangplank ultimate, so much damage. I think level 1, that ultimate's doing like 600 damage if you're standing it for 8 seconds. So this late in the game, it's really just going to pound you.
Yeah, and that wasn't a level 1 ultimate. That's double upgraded, a very strong Gangplank ultimate. Tier 2 mid lane was still up. That's what I want to point out. You know, they've already inefficiently traded. You're going against a zone control comp with an Ahri, with a Zed, lots of CC there. And it just, Baron is not the area to fight. And hey, we've got the last team fight for you. Let's just prove that it's not the area to fight.
Yeah, so let's roll this one out and see what Hellions can do now that they actually have a strong lead here. So we're going to get things going. You can see Hellions happy to sit on the Baron. Don't need to worry too much. Avant, they know they have to do something here, but there's no good choices, unfortunately, for Avant Hellions. They commit, they take quite a lot of damage. Destiny has a decent initiation. Frey does the right thing, goes safe into the backline. Rekt gets chunked, coming in trying to take it out. Cookie smites the Baron. Clean up crew on the AD carry because Avant are all grouped in towards the Baron pit. And it's just easy stuff here for Hellions. They already have a massive gold lead. They just got the Baron. All you have to do is play cleanup, and that's exactly what they do.
But this is the difference between using Baron effectively and throwing with Baron. So, I mean, a lot of teams throw on Baron, but what does that even mean? It's when you go to the Baron and you have a lead, and you're not necessarily looking for the Baron, but you're looking for the team fight, because you know this is where your comp fights. You're on the choke point. You can use that massive AoE, as opposed to using the Baron simply because you don't understand how to set up or identify proper objectives on the map, being the towers in the case of Avant. They need to understand that we don't just want the Baron simply because we want to lure them into a fight, and that's the only way that we can think we can win. Make your pick, set up your vision, prioritize vision as an objective, not just Dragon and Baron, and try sieging.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And the further sentiment for me is prioritize whether you want to take the Baron or you want to take the team fight. 3 members of Avant dive into the deep part of the pit against a Janna who's healing the whole team, as opposed to killing the 2 people on the outside of the team fight.
I think for me, it just comes back to Avant's biggest strength is apparently also their biggest weakness. This team never stops fighting. They always look for a fight when they want to win. They win games when they play aggressive. Hellions did a good job this game of keeping them down and making sure they couldn't get the tempo going. And when Avant can't get the ball rolling, they always devolve back into fighting to try and win the game, and that's exactly what happened in that game.
Yeah, it certainly looked like this 5v5. If Avant can degrade the game to a 5v5, they look like they're going to win. But that game was in the lanes a lot of the time.
But there are ways to fight and win the game without doing it on objectives. The way that the Vision game has changed, particularly because there's no more stealth wards, it's all pink wards, means that it's 5 hits and everyone sees the ward. So everyone's going to go in and try to kill it. It opens up so many opportunities for skirmishes, and that's where Avant need to be fighting. You need to view Vision as an objective, not just Dragon and Baron.
Well, we'll see if they're going to be able to do it, guys, because we have Game 3 right around the corner, 3.5, and we'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to the OPL, where it is 1-1 between Avant and Hellions currently. Hellions fighting back in Game 2 after a very dominant Game 1 from Avant. However, guys, we do have a social media contest for you online. Tell me who you want to duo-queue with out of the OPL Pro players and why. You're going to win yourself some Red Bull. Tweet us at lol_Oceania. Use that hashtag IamOPL. You've already heard from us on the desk. But getting back to this game, I asked the question to the desk, right? Taking Destiny out, putting an assassin player like Rekt in the mid lane, does it change the dynamic of the map? Everyone said no. It was a resounding no, in fact. And I just want to bring back the fact that Bomb looked really, really good in that game versus an assassin player.
So it shouldn't change what happened, but it did. Destiny was able to play safe, be more of a role player, play with his team, and Rekt lived up to the bad end of his namesake, unfortunately. There. It was just a rough lane for him. Bomb played into him finally, playing more of a pressure mage. And as it turns out, Bomb's Assassin better than Rex Assassin, I guess.
And I know we were talking about this before the segment started, but I think that the true victor of the game, not that Bomb didn't play fantastic on Ahri, but it was really that Gangplank, and it was more so Hellions changing their composition to have a bridge for Gangplank getting to the late game. The fact that also Avant-Garde threw, not putting the Zed against the GP, so he was able to just sit up there, farm, and it was really those GP ultimates on the Baron pits that allowed them to win.
Yeah, and I'm happy to admit that there was multiple factors in that game, along with the Ahri in the mid lane that ended up winning it for them. But what I did want to say is you're exactly right, because we kept mentioning this. As long as you are even against a Gangplank, especially if you're the ones picking up the kills and he's still farming, farm versus gold is really deceptive because if you're taking turrets, if you're killing people, it gets spread out generally with assists and stuff going everywhere. Gangplank queuing minions, it's just Gangplank getting a lot of bank. And we saw that the longer he stayed in the lane versus the Shen, it better off it suited the overall outcome of that game.
I think also kind of the big thing about GP in particular, I know we've called him kind of the Ziggs, although the difference, you have to understand why GP is being picked up and why Ziggs is no longer relevant, and it's really how his barrels are affecting Baroned up creeps in particular, because the Baroned up creeps will have the MR, Ziggs not able to clear them as effectively, whereas GP really doesn't care. Obviously, there's a lot more other factors, but that's kind of a big primary one. But in terms of massive wave clear, I mean, you think Ziggs, Mega Inferno Bomb, you've got the Cannon Barrage. It's his ability to compensate for macro play. Like teams that are disorganized about moving around the maps, GP is so punishing and so compensating for that.
Yeah, I think GP and Rek'Sai are actually really good at both those things. And these two champions are very good for a reason. Rek'Sai, one of the best competitive champions ever made because of how much control she has. And Gangplank ticks a lot of those same boxes for me, so I agree.
And this is something that SKT really popularized at Worlds. They were running, because obviously this was the big rise of the double teleport composition, they would run Rek'Sai and then Shin support and then some sort of double teleport or a semi-global like Gangplank. And it's just that idea that you can be everywhere at once. And in a structure-based meta where it's all about macro play and you can really snowball a game ahead because towers are one of the primary sources of global gold, that's how you do it.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. And we kind of have this unique situation right now where we have one team that is aggressive and proactive but doesn't really know where they're looking to fight in Avant-Garde versus Hellions that have all the ideas in the world and then can't really execute when they're coming to it.
I mean, Hellions just need options, I think, which is where a lot of the GP Rek'Sai strength comes from. I also like that we did talk about Bomb, being a bit more aggressive and having more pressure is a good thing. But for me, it's just the simple stuff. Like, Bomb, instead of going to lane, 0-0-0's casted and farming creeps, actually groups with his team and starts doing something. It's little things for Hellions, but they are learning game after game.
Yeah, they certainly are. Unfortunately, guys, we do have a slight delay, so you're going to hang out with us at the desk a little bit longer. I know that you're excited about that one. But looking to what both teams can change right now, so we keep talking, Hellions, they need a bridger. On the side of Avant, do you get rid of the Gangplank? What becomes your game plan now going into this next game?
I think for me, a lot of it, as always, has to do with Shelby in Avant. You don't have to play. Graves is a good pick, but I don't think you can get as much lane pressure as you might have liked. And Hellions did a great job with the Rek'Sai pick, nullifying invade pressure from Shelby's Graves there as well. So I think I always want to see Shelby go big in a game, but him and someone else, either top lane, mid lane, or bottom lane, need to get together and start that Avant aggression early.
Let's be frank. Shelby versus Cookie. Shelby is clearly the stronger jungler in this matchup, especially in this series. At this point, I think you just need to actually play the early game, kind of what Pastry's talking about, get them rolling. Just have Shelby invade, and you don't necessarily need a support mage or an assassin in the mid laner. You just need to push so you can get the rotation faster than Bomb.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case, and it's always the classic trap we fall into. You have a really good game. Do you go towards that hard carry? Like, are you going to play Quinn jungle? Are you going to play Kindred? Are you going to play something like the Graves? Or are you going to bring something that has CC so that the rest of your team can catch up? First game he goes the Elise. Very easy for the Lulu to rotate. This time with the Graves wasn't the case.
I don't think he actually needs Elise. Elise is going to have more pressure on the lanes, but she actually doesn't jungle as quickly as someone like Rek'Sai or Graves. Now, obviously, in a dueling scenario, you can go back and forth on that one. But I think Rek'Sai and Graves are where Shelby needs to go, because he needs to farm his own jungle as quickly as possible and then literally just walk into Cookie's jungle and start punch him in the face.
Yeah, I think it's be interesting to see where the draft goes, because for me, I look at these teams and I I'm waiting for the change. I feel we've just defined Avant's style quite well. We've defined Hellions' style quite well, but they're kind of playing the same ex-champions a bunch of times. And for me, the first team to adapt in this series, like pick different things, actually is going to have a big lead here. But I don't know if they can do it after 2 games.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be difficult, especially given the fact that Hellions haven't really adapted the whole season long so far. They seem to have a recipe for success. A lot of that, I think, falls down to Ryu in the top lane. If we're looking for a catalyst on Avant, we can say Chelby all we want. Really feel this is a guy that needs to get something rolling earlier than 30 minutes if they're going to win.
I'd actually like to see Rekt also step up as well. He's known as an assassin player, loves his Zed, loves his LeBlanc, is known for these picks in solo queue, but we have seen Lux from him. We know that there's lots of different champions in the meta. I think Rekt needs to sort of branch out of his little box and start playing something else, because he's a strong player. It's just when you play the same way, it's really predictable.
Yeah, and I know that you want them to tidy up a little bit of their map movements in this game too.
I'm just laughing because I know that Rekt picked Zed into Ahri, so he went into that matchup thinking, like, as the assassin player, I got the Zed pick. It's a skill matchup. I got this.
I want to back him up here because I honestly think that Ahri does not win the matchup. I think Zed wins the matchup.
I agree with you. I think Zed wins the matchup.
What he did, however, was take a longsword and 3 potions instead of a Dorad shield. So I think that doesn't win it because she can just auto-attack you in the face. But I credit Rekt. I love these players that are willing to take a skill matchup with a slight advantage to you, just trusts himself and go into it. If he does it again, maybe it turns out differently.
Yeah, I think if Rekt is going to play that way, then like you need to actually step up in the lane and make it work. Because for me, I'm kind of on the other side of the matchup. I think Ahri's got a slight edge, but with the way Bomb played it, Rekt just had no chance coming back into that lane.
I think the biggest thing, though, is just making sure that he has pressure in the lane by getting it shoved forward. Again, create space, open up time for Chelby to walk in and get there to assist him, because Cookie is clearly the weak point on Hellions, and you should punish him.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. And the other thing about Cookie, you can kind of figure out that he's going to be mid lane. So you either pick a 2v2 that wins, or you just go somewhere else on the map. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Carbon really took it to Cookie because he was like, if you're going to camp for your mid lane, I'm just going to dive your top lane all over again, and Hellions did suffer from that.
And I know we've been kind of harsh on Avant's macro play, but they actually played the early game quite well, even in game 2, utilizing the Shin ultimate in between the teleport cooldowns and the ultimate cooldowns from Gangplank to make sure that they had a numbers advantage on the bottom side of the map. So that was actually really well played.
Yeah, I think the longer this game stays in lanes, the more it benefits Avant, truth be told, because they certainly look more coordinated around the map. However, guys, we've talked for a while, so we're going to throw you over to Rusty and Atlas to finally get us into Game 3.
Thank you very much, Spawn. I'm very excited to get into game number 3, of course. Hellions making the Gangplank work this time around.
Yep.
And we'll see whether it does hit the ban list. What do you think sort of the #1 changes are going to be as far as those bans are concerned?
Yeah, TP.
GP,
I mean,
you reckon?
It
Not
worked
coffee?
in the first game. It just didn't find a victory. It still definitely worked, and Ryu showed he's very capable of playing that champion. Worked to a further extent in game number 2, and that's because Bomb switched it up and picked Ahri. So he's already shown adaptation to the playstyle of this team by out-assassinating an assassin in Rekt. So could put Rekt onto the back foot, honestly, and might even revert him back to a Lux.
Yeah, I actually find it really, really interesting as well, because Bomb has been playing, you know, a Nivea, Kassadin, Lulu. I mean, Kassadin, of course, known as an assassin as well, but not necessarily in the laning phase as much as the Ahri. He definitely looked good here as Janna, the first ban from Avant. They know, Denian, he's got his champion. Get rid of it. And look, I respect that. I mean, who cares about the Gangplank? Get him off the Janna.
Look, I'm not going to argue about getting him off the Janna. I still think GP should get Ryu off it. Janna in particular, Denian showed a track record of being able to play one champion to a greater degree of success above all else, and that is, of course, the Janna. So taking away his most comfortable champion after Hellions by default ban the Poppy, which is the other champion that he's played, don't really know. Besides maybe the Morgana, I guess what Denian is capable of playing.
Well, he's played Morgana and Trundle, are his only other two, and he's played either of them once, neither of them being able to pick up victories either. As it is going to be Gangplank, of course, taken away here by Avant, so changing things up completely. Callista is going to leave the Rift as Hellions get rid of that one, and we'll see whether the Rise slips through. 8 seconds to go now for Avant. Whether it is going to be a blue side ban, no, it's not, as Fiora's actually going to hit the bench. Rise going to be banned on Hellions' side of the Rift, and we'll see whether the Lulu is going to be picked up. Considered now, and Malaz is going to lock it in, and we'll see who plays it.
Yeah, could go mid. Most likely will go mid. Malaz has got a lot of options available to him, and that is a strong bottom lane of Hellions.
Yeah, that's
You had to point out
That's-
it. Yeah, no,
that's
Corgi
ridiculous.
Alistar, pretty good, but it's actually Lucian.
Right, so Bomb's going to be playing it in the mid lane this time around. As, of course, Chelby is going to be picking up the Rek'Sai. We are going to give Destiny the Bard. And Stark and Destiny now to pick up the last 2 remaining champions.
You know the last time we saw Destiny play Bard? In the semi-finals against the Chiefs, game number 3.
Oh, yeah?
When they almost won, they didn't. But it was an awesome game, and Destiny was an awesome Bard. That is the point I'm making.
I'm pretty sure I remember that one as Shelby being the awesome Nidalee that time around, but Stark, we'll see what he does decide to lock in here, as of course taking it into Cookie's at least this time, as Shelby had locked away the Rek'Sai, actually stealing it away from Cookie, taking that one first.
A lot of AD carries actually taken from Stark as well.
Yeah.
No Corki, no Lucian, Kalista banned. What else can Stark default to?
Well, when we were looking at his list, sort of his champions that he likes to play, it was things like Ezreal and the Corki, and of course the Lucian and Kalista. But now considering a Caitlyn, as Rector's locked away the Lux, so Froscarin getting exactly what she wants as far as that champion is concerned. And look at the amount of range on these guys.
Yeah, Rector's shown that he's quite a capable Lux player as well.
Yeah.
Even in defeat, being able to be a standout performer on the entire map gives credit to Rect where it's due. And it's a different style to the Assassins that we're used to seeing from him. Of course, they revealed their hand. They said that Corki was mid early. Their last draft is less about that, more so the top laner and what they want, whether they acknowledge that it's a Lulu top lane or if it's a Lux. And right now we know it's Lulu. What does Ryu want?
Well, looks like they are going for a potential triple AD carry, as it is going to be the Quinn locked in here for Ryu. Or for Cookie. No, it's not going to happen. There's an Elise there. Man, I got excited. Elise top was a thing for a little while. They're not going to be happening this time around, as Bomb and Ryu probably will trade those ones around. But what I really love is the fact that AV have well and truly changed what they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's much more like this sort of kite comp, make sure that Stark is as big as possible, give him the tools that he needs, and Rect being a facilitator in that one as well.
Yeah.
I like the change.
Absolutely. I think it's the first real sign of adaptation. Of course, Ari in the second game from Helion's is a lane-based change, but this is Avant almost redefining themselves as a team composition. Still team fighting, but a lot more pick-based. They've got a Bard and a Lux who can combo together quite well.
Yeah.
Or the other way around, as is Bard per usual. But of course, their damage, their team fighting, still there. And Helion's, they've kind of got the split pushing. They've still got a similar team composition, but they can execute on multiple different opportunities here. Having an Alistar, naturally you're able to team fight.
Yeah, and I just love that Ryu, like, I don't have Fiora, I don't have Gangplank, down the list of split push. Oh, Quinn,
Yeah.
nice.
What can split, what can carry, what does damage, basically.
Yep.
Like, things that he needs to have in his champion. So GP gone, default to the Quinn. He could have gone Fiora, but he was aware that it was
banned.
Oh, it was banned.
Yeah.
Well, he's also aware it was a Lulu, so anything that he wants to pick was there to him, and Quinn will be perfectly fine.
Yeah, and so the range still there in the top lane, but I want to hear exactly what you think is going to happen this game. If you think Avant, with their playstyle change, are going to be able to take this game, use that hashtag AVWin. Or if you think that Hellions can ride the momentum of last game, use that hashtag HLNWin. Let us know on Twitter. Or, you know, just let us know whatever you're feeling. You know, tell us your feelings about stuff in general. Use that hashtag IamOPL, and we just love to hear from you.
Yeah, Atlas is a man of feelings, so make sure you send them to specifically
I
him.
sounded so lonely, didn't
Yeah.
I? It was, well, you know, Valentine's Day, guys.
Singles Awareness Day
Yeah.
is actually what it is.
Singles Awareness Day, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, AV setting up this time in a defensive formation. It's Cookie going to throw a volatile Spiderling in. Shelby going to avoid the damage for now. And of course, blue side has been victorious both times.
30 seconds.
Now Ryu taking a bit of damage from Malaz, but cops it back now as Volt comes in. Malaz, you got to be careful, man.
Yeah, absolutely a trade that Ryu will win, just because the passive from Quinn, marking him, makes it do the double auto attack, throw the E out, Volt off his face and get another one. Pretty hard to trade as Malaz level 2. Level 1 rather. Level 2 is where Malaz does get that trading capability.
Well, we'll see what happens. He is going to be able to get all of his health back and move back to that lane, though, unscathed. Couple of wards towards the top side of the river. As AV with no wards put down at all just yet.
One other thing as well is Doran's across the board. We've actually got 3 Doran's blades, no corrupting potions to be seen from these guys. It's a sign of aggression, at least in my opinion, that they've got that extra health and offensive stats, so the corrupting potion gave some. It is most importantly the health.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you that because is it a more aggressive option when you have the extra sort of ability to use your health as a resource instead of go for more aggressive stuff? Or
Health is
just
the effective resistance
Yeah.
that they're using.
It's just really interesting. Wreck, though,
He
moving
needs
a
it.
little bit far up in this lane as Bomb's putting the pressure down. Danian and Frey going to make their way back into the lane. And Danian, first time on Alistair this time. That is something we haven't spoken about. Can be used as a disengaged champion somewhat with the headbutt.
Yeah.
Can heal people in an AoE with Triumph at Raw. It's basically Gem.
Yeah, I'm kind of just running at him at the moment.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, Danian, Windspeaker's Blessing, Alistar, is one of the most underrated Keystone Masteries, I believe, that people aren't aware of.
Yep.
Gives resistances to the person that you're healing and can...
He wants a cuppa. He's going to get it. There's a headbutt. Pulverizes. Spray's looking for the 2v2 kill in the bottom lane. Flashes forward, but the heal comes out from Stark quite nicely. Denian running low on health as Destiny's at full, basically.
He's got this.
He's just battling him.
Yeah.
Man, that was aggression.
That was absolutely aggression. Hitting that level 2 mark and dodging the stun from Destiny, most importantly. You have to give so much credit to Denian. Somehow this guy shows he has what it takes to play support competitively and styles on AV.
Really nicely done. I wasn't expecting it. Not ready at all. You may have heard it in my voice. There's the W. Ryu knows exactly what's going on.
That was actually, I like that for Ryu.
Yeah.
Because he's saying that he doesn't know where the enemy jungler is, but his is in the bush.
Well, Frey might actually be in trouble now as Shelby's going to get knocked up. Fantastic Cosmic Binding, and that's first blood for Stark in the bottom lane as Destiny. He's still got it on the Brad.
Frey doesn't have his flash available to him, used it to attempt to kill Stark, who healed in response. No mobility means he is going to die from what was a good flank.
Oh, there's the stun in onto Bomb. Nice shield for Wrecked as well. Cookie's going to make his way around, but Shelby looking for it. There's the magical journey, though. Bomb might be the one in trouble as Cookie's actually going to get stuck against the wall. There's the light binding. Binding's everywhere, but he is going to be able to make it up into the sky. Flashes out of the way now, but Cookie does have to go back to base. And AV, they're turning it on.
That was hyper-aggression from Bomb, though, in particular. Stood in their faces and just Gatling gunned them to try and push them away from Elise. He's successful in doing so. And Cookie gets out with his life. And Wrecked, honestly, no idea what you're doing here, mate.
Yeah, well, he did have a shield, Rusty.
Yeah, but he's got no mana besides that shield.
He's running out of health, too.
And the minions are about to crash. So this is potentially a lot of minions missed. I think Shelby should probably come in and help him.
Well, at the moment, he has Raptors on his mind. The blind comes in from Malaz, who's just going to run at Ryu. He's going to land the Glitter Lance. Ryu has to go home. He may have to use that teleport as well as Bomb. Completely out of mana. AV pressuring him out of this lane. Shelby may have to go back home, though. And, man, Bomb is just playing so far up in this lane. Not a care in the world.
No, he doesn't necessarily need to respect Shelby. He saw the health bar on the Rex side. Knows that she's quite low. Knows that Rex doesn't have enough mana. Barely enough for maybe a Q now. Probably opt into throwing the E, though, to wave clear.
Well, Malaz at full health now. Cookie does need to land this cocoon, but Malaz going to flash it.
Yeah, easy disengage. And a lot of low health members across the entire map, but no jungler able to capitalize as Shelby.
Always cutting it fine, isn't he?
Absolutely. He rides a fine line pretty much the entire game. Champions, minions, you know, monsters, doesn't matter.
Everything.
Fight them to the absolute nearest point of death.
Rensley Ryu though, gouging them Valor in the top lane. Malaz, of course, used his teleport to get back to the top lane as well. He's going to push in with this minion wave. Looking for the Glitter Lance. He's going to find Ryu with right at the end. Nicely done.
Doing so well. Having components of a catalyst. To be able to out-trade him like that as we're looking at it. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, good cuppa.
The Coco.
Yeah, delicious. Stark saying, oh, yep, from the north, you know. No.
What? That was the worst reference.
That was a really bad one. This is, you need
2 out of 10 would not reference
hot,
again, honestly.
Yeah, a hot cup of cocoa is what I was going for. Not great. Stark, though, going to continue to push up here in this lane. Pickaxe going to be the advantage over the Doran's Blade. The Hellions are having to play a little bit further back. And having to play back against the Caitlyn is dangerous times in the early game.
Yeah, it's a positive sign here for AV. Of course, the trade-off is going for the pickaxe in particular for Stark. Slows down the BF sword purchase, and there's a chance that Frey actually comes back into the lane with that. question is how far behind does he fall before the purchase of the BF sword?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And what can AV do to utilize their advantage in the bottom lane?
Well, Chelby, at least having a look at where Cookie is. Ward's going to go down, gets the Raptor sense out of Chelby, who can't clear the ward. Gets his own vision down as Denian looking for an engage. Bomb's coming around as well. Chelby will be able to tunnel his way out.
Yeah.
Just Chelby in danger. Just
Well, the
all
Scuttle
time.
Crab was the saving grace there, to be fair.
Yeah.
Giving him the speed boost, actually dodging out of the cocoon when all of Helion's were collapsing onto him. Does get out. Doesn't have to use anything. Didn't actually have flash at all. He was probably dead.
Yeah, scary stuff. But Bomb still doing incredibly well here in the mid lane. 20 CS in the lead now with that Sheen picked up. Bottom lane in favor of AV, but Frey's more than happy just farming here in this lane despite the item disadvantage that he has sustained.
I like, so it's a small detail, but the Coco placement, of course, from Destiny, the healing shrines, actually quite clever. How is someone meant to stand on those and deny them without getting Cosmic Bound to a wall and stun?
Point.
And it's also on the side where Stark will naturally stand, so if Denian engages, not only is he close to heals, but he's also close to a potential stun if they try and disengage. It just sets up the entire map positioning-wise. And that one in particular also reveals them without vision if they're trying to walk through the bush.
Very good point. Very cute stuff. Cosmic Binding going to find some minions, though. AV continue to shove up. Piercing Light not to find Stark, which is the important part, as Malaz blinded now as well. Cookie looking to try and find his way in. Malaz can't turn this one around, just skippies himself. He's going to be able to run out. Another blind hits as Cookie not going to find the cocoon.
That is a lot of pressure from Ryu, though, and it's not going to slow down at any time soon. Hex Drinker, of course, the reason Ryu can come back into this lane and be so aggressive, especially against just components of the Catalyst mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Strong start here, and honestly, if Cookie dove, I wouldn't be surprised.
He does put a ward down. Malaz is going to see that one. There's Cosmic Binding not going to find Bomb. Doesn't use the package there in order to get out of the way. Just wanders casually.
Yeah, not tampering with fate this time. Destiny.
Oh, Malaz might be in trouble. Wild Growth is there. He's going to use it immediately as Ryu. Not going to go back on that vault. Malaz just trying to kite around. Doesn't hit the blind as Cookie. Just waiting for the Q. And Ryu might actually fall down.
Up.
No, not going to happen. Oh, saved by the level. That's ridiculous. But nicely played.
Now I'm going to assume Dangerous Game as well. Gives him a pretty big boost of health there, Ryu. Kiting around the outskirts of the turret and saving his... biding his time, essentially, to make sure he's the one that gets the kill onto Malaz. They do force a trade, though, AV now.
They are going to pick up another dragon, but not going to be any gold for them to change what has happened here in Hellions for the first time. The gold lead before 10 minutes. As AV looking to head back. And Shelby says, I don't want your stupid journey getting on the Ramon tunnel.
Why not, though? He could turn into a penguin. There's just different life choices here between Shelby and the rest of his team. You have to question their synergy after that one.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. Stark missing a couple of creeps underneath this turret. Piercing Light going to come down from Frey. And the early game power of this Lucian is a big deal as Ryu going to get some wards down here. Rek might be in trouble here in the mid lane as Ryu with a drive-by.
Yeah, good decision making though from Helion. Opting not to dive. They were trying to bait Rekt into using his Q, which would have given Quinn a free way in, of course. Too squishy to do that otherwise. So they don't do it.
Looking for some extra pressure here in the mid lane as the ultimate does come through. Final spark in from Rekt, who clears out some more minions there as well. So he's going to possibly go back to base now once that Frost Queen's claim wants to be able to lock down some targets a little bit better. Cosmic Binding finds Denian and a minion there, as taking a fair bit of health and damage.
Denian actually struggling a fair bit on this Alistar. Every time we look down there, he's missing a lot of health, recalling, having to come back.
Oh, another stun. Destiny is playing this card really, really well. Cookie's going to find his way around. Cocoon hits a minion. As Chelby's going to find his way in as well. 3v3 now in the bottom lane as Hellions back away.
Yeah, and both of these teams playing quite slow at the moment. You have to remember they've changed up their style here, Avant. Going for that Lux in the middle lane, not the Assassin. And so they're perfectly fine with scaling. Just want to sit back and let it happen. Bomb, nothing's changed in the middle lane, to be fair. He's just applying constant pressure and trying to keep Wrecked down.
Yeah.
The difference being, if he was Zed right now and losing, would be a bit less useful.
Chubby Cookie throws a ward down. He's going to have full vision of that blue buff that Bomb probably wants to pick up. Denny just continues to take harassment here in the bottom lane. Triumphant Roar just has to be spammed out, but Stark more than happy just to hit creeps. He's falling behind though. It was probably just an inopportune back time that's forced that one. It was very interesting.
Denian's got a lot of levels into the heal as well. Wasn't far off, no. But yeah, Denian, he's healing an awful lot when every time he presses his Triumphant Roar. You have to wager that it's pretty easy to keep Frey in this lane. Start to out-trade in the end. Destiny's also roamed a bit. Quite easy to zone to Caitlyn when Bard's not there.
It's a very good point. Ryu just clearing out the minion wave now, back on the drive-by path.
It is the double package comp as well.
I know. The double jetpack.
Well, yeah.
Frost
One of the
Queen's
packages
playing.
is just Quinn.
What, Valor? But yeah, soaring here towards the mid lane, but Lux playing so far back. Rekt wants none of it. Thinks, nope, get back into my vision radius, you jerk. He's going to do so. Pink ward now going to fall as Rekt picks that one up, as well as a blue buff for himself. Yeah, nails that one.
We had to have a moment of silence to check.
Yeah.
There's always a chance it gets taken away.
Yeah, what is it going to be? Bomb just shoots in there with the package. Takes it down. Now with a lot of pressure though, the dive looking to be on here as Final Spout comes through, clears out all of the minions. Tempered Fate is going to find Cookie. He's going to have Repel though as Magical Journey comes through. Destiny going to lock down the stun, forcing the flash immediately as Chelby is going to get the flash knock up, but is it going to be enough? As now the Repel comes in, but he's got nowhere to go and Rex picks up the kill. AV, they're playing around this Bard so well, but they will lose a bottom outer turret.
Yeah, Helion's immediately forcing a trade. They get the turret and a bit more gold globally for the rest of their roster. But yes, Cookie does die. And it's honestly just smart work here from AV. Destiny roaming one more time, knowing that Caitlyn's not there. And Rex saw Cookie pressuring the turret. The rest of the team react just in time to help him. Pressure's still there though in this middle lane. Bomb's not going to stop.
We saw Rekt do this last time though, and we especially saw BMA doing this on the Lux in Trident's victorious game last time. And it was that the laning phase didn't go great at all. I mean, it was just wave clear, sit back, fall a little bit behind, but then it's sort of when you get into these skirmishes, when you can sit so far back and just pump out damage by hitting these skill shots, that's when Lux gets important.
Yeah, it's
see where the Rekt can
indicative as
transition,
well. The item build, having less CDR, a bit more utility, a bit more gold generation as well by going the Frost Queens. Says you want to scale work towards the second item before you hit a point of power, as is. So you're absolutely right. That's what they're looking towards here, Avant. Late game, let Rekt actually one-hit somebody.
Well, 3-man now moving towards this top lane for Hellions. They want to just circle around the map, pick up all the turrets that they can. Now in the lead as far as that gold is concerned, but Ryu struggling to do battle with Destiny and Stark as they're running behind in, I guess, the turret game. Still able to put on the pressure.
Yeah, it's an Infinity Edge for Stark. So, oh, I just realized Caitlyn Stark, nice.
Yep. Very nicely done.
Just had to, didn't it?
Yeah. Probably would have been a better one than the hot cocoa. Well, package delivered here to Rekt as Bomb just puts in between the turret and where he wants to go. The heal has to be popped. The shield there as well, and Pom just flashes over, locks it down. Really nicely done from the Hellion mid laner.
Yeah, wow. Essentially a blind flash from Bomb also. Had to assume the direction that he ran after the hill was popped from Rekt also, so even getting move speed to try and run faster. Well played from Helions. And of course, Bomb in particular, using that special delivery, working towards the top side of the map, which is his team's strong point, and finding a solo kill, because he knows he has a safe vicinity to run towards if AV try and respond.
And just hit that Trinity Force as well, so knew that he was powerful. Just all-around great play from this mid laner. And he's going to hold mid while Hellions pick up Harold. Frey's going to grab that one for himself.
That is 190 CS, by the way, in 16 minutes. That's absurd.
Tempered Fate going to come down on a Cookie, though. Destiny now looking for the stun. Isn't going to throw out the Cosmic Binding now as Denian's going to get caught. The stun comes in. Can they actually find a kill, though? The ultimate's there. Denian getting locked up, and they're just waiting for the timer to run out. Destiny picks himself up another one. Takes a magical journey to the mid lane. So AV still able to get picks. They're just not quite able to transition this into power in the lanes.
Yeah. Actually, another cute intricacy. Destiny showing he really does know how Bard works. Put the W on himself to heal himself. It shows a similar animation to that of the Q. I guess trying to bait summoners out of Cookie or a Duke, but then tries to double stun with Denian. Spiderlings are a real issue as Bard.
Oh, wrecked. Yeah. Not utilizing the trap that was put down by Stark, and instead decides to try and lock down the Elise, but doesn't quite get there. I mean, if this is ever a good day to be Ryu, I mean, this is pretty good because he's just sitting on Quinn, just smacking side lane turrets as best he can. This is going to be the first turret for Avant as Hellion putting pressure towards the top side. Shelby actually going to get the knock up here. Oh, actually not, as the Vault comes through. He's still just hunting. Does find the knock up eventually, as they're just battling 1v1. And yeah, Ryu probably would have won that one. Stark was saying, I want creeps, buddy.
To be fair, Shelby just zoning him away, pushing him back. Stark's going to get a lot of free farm as well because they traded health bars, and Shelby has a lot more sustain. Yep. But Hellions are the ones with entire power of this map. CS values across all of their laners. Their only sacrifice is Cookie, who I still disagree with his item build, going towards Runic Echoes when he's behind by a fair margin.
There's going to be Rek picking up another blue buff. Lucent Singularity grabbing that for him. Heading back towards this lane. We'll see how he can do, of course. Rabbidan's death cap almost completed, which will be a great sign because it might mean that he can clear out at least the backline minions with that Lucent Singularity. Stark here as well. So if he doesn't one-hit them, then the Caitlyn's just going to take all this.
Yeah, and this is the problem, as I was actually about to mention that Rekt and Stark sharing a lane signals bad things for the waves to come. The Stark can't find a side lane to go to because Ryu's there. He can't go bottom because Malaz wants a lane. And where's he to go besides Rekt's farm? If they're sharing CS, it doesn't favor them when they're already behind.
Well, thankfully, Hellion's going to do the same here in the mid lane with Frey and Bomb, but they're already ahead, so they don't really care about it too much. Now Denian clearing out Vision. Frost Queen's claim going to come out. Destiny uses his, actually. They've got double on this side.
Whoa, Bomb.
Yeah, he's been caught out. Massive explosions. The ultimates come through, but Frey's going to be able to lock it in. Even uses the heal just to make sure that his mid laner survives, but is going to have to go back, and AV may have a push here in the mid lane.
Now, Ryu's covering all side lanes, so Frey and Bomb hanging out together. Frey.
Oh, another double comes in. Man, Rekt is brilliant.
Absolutely. Rekt is strong on this Lux. And AV work around his strengths, especially having this blue buff. He's hitting every single spell. Look at the Hellion's health bars. That's pretty much entirely Rekt.
Yeah, Rekt seems to get out of laning phase on Lux, and he's just incredible. Whereas everything else that he plays, it's like, laning phase, that's where I want to play, and that's all I really care about. Chelby just going to grab himself a shield, tank up the culling, and Ryu now looking to try and find a flank re-engage, but he's all on his own right now. Probably shouldn't find his way in. Nicely played by AV. 2 turrets to 2 now. They have got themselves the gold lead.
They basically walk through the front door and get themselves a turret in the middle lane. The hardest turret to breach, but they do so effectively. And Rekt is already doing a lot of damage. Once he finishes that item, to assumedly the death cap, it only goes up.
Well, Shelby still aggressively positioning himself. Takes a cocoon, but just doesn't care. Man, I would hate to play against Shelby. It'd just be so intimidating. He just looks like he's not afraid of anything.
Because he's not.
Bomb going to reset the Raptor. That's how he's getting all his farm. He's taking popcorn chickens on both sides of the map. You're right, Bomb not going to be able to get hit by Rekt's light binding this time.
And he still hasn't recalled. He must have a bit of money. Maybe not the death cap completed just yet.
There was a while ago that he picked up those items.
Absolutely, and of course once he gets the second item spike,
ooh, there it is.
Even though he's 60 CS behind Bomb Bomb's building 2 of the most expensive items in the game.
At the same time.
And and weaving in a 3rd item now with that rapid fire cannon. Opting into an immediate spike in power, I will say, by going for the component of the rapid fire.
Yeah, adding a bit of extra burst there as well.
Absolutely. And he's got the package. So this is a point where Hellions evidently want to do something. But Rekt having his 2 items completed is actually quite far. I'm not going to say ahead, he's actually just quite strong.
Oh, not Ryu. Gonna have to watch out, but Malaz has to watch out a whole lot more as Bomb's gonna find his way in here. Wild Growth goes down, but Hellion's not gonna try and chase that kill. Now just gonna push up this mini wave. Package delivered. AV doesn't have to worry about that one for the next little while. Malaz just gonna go back to base.
Yeah, so they don't get anything from the special delivery, but they do pressure out. Ryu shows that he can trade with Malaz quite comfortably, having that more of Malmortius available to him.
Yeah.
Reasonably efficient item also. Always worth picking up.
Bomb Cookie going to get discovered here as Life Binding not going to find Bomb once again. And Glitterland's not finding Hellion's members either as Denian found his way all the way in. He hasn't even popped the ultimate, just tanking up the damage where he can. Hellion's steal away a red buff and move on.
This is the kind of game, Atlas, where we'll hit 35 minutes in and Bomb will start to play with fire, as he always does. But the fire will be a light binding and he'll die, and the game could end. That's just the kind of game that it feels like to me. They're not respecting Lux, and rightly so, they're ahead. They shouldn't be respecting Avant. They should be actually looking to control the map, play the map, and beat them at it.
Especially with these champions as well, of course. Quinn, Corky, as Denian's going to find a double knock-up here. We'll see what he can do to find more in this one as the teleport comes in through the back line. Cookie trying to get amongst it. Denian as well, still tanking up, but Hellions finally making their way in. Cookie the only one to get tempered in that fate. As Ryu pressuring forward even more. He wants something,
Ryu's
but Light Binding comes in. Bomb gets caught by it as well. And Ryu, thank goodness for the Mora Malmortius, because that's the only thing that saved him right there.
Yeah, well, Bomb uses the heal to ensure that everyone stays alive. Rekt is about an item away from killing every single person on this map with a combo. Even Ryu's not going to be safe, based off the amount of damage that last one just did. It's almost like a time bomb here for Hellions, if they want a team fight. Otherwise, they start reverting to that split push strategy once again.
The thing that worries me as well is the fact that Stark is sitting right in the rut of the Caitlyn. Of course, we remember back to when Caitlyn was the thing. It was this sort of mid-game portion that you just feel like you do nothing. And once you get about 3 items, that's when you're going to be feeling good. And right now, Stark, despite this, still okay. But I mean, when it's all about Rekt right now and he is able to take control of a lot of these fights, imagine when Caitlyn is well and truly online.
Yeah, well, once Caitlyn's online, so will Malaz be grouping.
That's a good point.
So he'll be near unkillable, this Caitlyn. There's a lot of teamfight capabilities out of this advanced side. Hellions, on the other hand, they've got a Quinn, so they'll probably continue the split push trend. Work around their vision, which should be treated like an objective. Exactly right, Roscoe.
Yep.
And it's one of the most important ones that Hellions have to compete with at the moment. AV trying to work their way around it.
Oh, Shelby positioning aggressively. They think that they've caught Denian out. He does have the ultimate back available, looking for the re-engage. Stark and Rekt, both of them get caught by that knock-up as Ryu looking to try and find his way back in. AB now split up. Tempered Fate comes in. Nice use of the repel to stop that one from happening, but the knock-up immediately afterwards. Cookie going to get destroyed. That greedy build now getting paid for as Light Binding just barely misses onto Bomb. Shelby finds the flash knock-up one more time. There's the ultimate, but it's going to be dodged by both Hellions members.
Ooh.
That Cosmic Binding was fantastic as there's another Light Binding. Stark picks up the kill onto Ryu, and Hellions just falling left, right, and center. Frey is able to pick up a very aggressive Shelby, but in the end it is going to be an AV victory.
And AV running Bard Lux to show their superiority, even with Lulu starting to group. They're skirmishing, they're team fighting, and their pick is unrivaled from this Hellion side. And they're forcing the turret down.
Yeah, well, the shields and the slows everywhere. This double Frost Queen's claim as well as, yeah, it was very cute.
Sorry.
Cute magical journey.
Magical cuteness.
It's working so well for AV.
It is, absolutely. They've got a team composition, they've got a strategy in place, and it's not just fight the enemies until they die this time. It's genuinely look to make a pick. If Bard hits a Cosmic Binding, follow it with the Lux Q. If Lux hits a Q again, follow it up. They've got Lulu to boot with a lot of burst damage later on as the game goes, and Stark to mix it up with the physical damage. This team composition they've got is pick-based, it's siege-focused, and they've even got team fighting the later the game goes.
I love the layers as well that they have available. They can use the Frost Queens to test the waters, then see like so many non-committal forms of CC that they can throw out.
Yeah.
And just see what they can get. That's a death cap completed as well for Malaz. You can see lasting one comes in. Ooh, Cookie not going to find the cocoon under Destiny. He's just clearing out vision. This Bard's just like, well, I'm just walking wherever I feel like it.
Yeah. Absolutely. He needs to hug around Rex though, needs to keep the Lux safe. If Lux ever dies, you have to say it starts to spell disaster for Avant-Garde.
Yeah. Well, Pinkor going to get dispatched off here by Ryu on the bottom side of the map. Bomb is going to take some final spark damage. Nice zoom out there to make sure that we saw all of the action.
Recall denied.
Yep.
Force's objective is actually very good as a delay tactic, whether intentional or not, to keep Corki away from this top lane. Unfortunately, he does have the package and is flying at a pretty fast pace.
Yeah, very true. And finally, AV utilizing this Caitlyn now with almost 3 items completed, an extra BF sword now in the back pocket of Stark. They're just moving him around, getting him in front of a turret so they can smack it down from that really huge range as Malaz going to try and get some damage onto Ryu. Does so quite nicely. Nice trade here from the AV top laner. The blind is going to hit. That's going to mean that Little Ant's used on the minion wave, going to save his life. But yeah, you're right. A little bit dangerous.
Yeah, it definitely is, of course, Death Cap for Malaz. The item of choice does a whole lot of damage, as you're about to find out, probably.
Yeah, Destiny making his way in here as well, as there's more of Malmortius down, but he's getting slowed by the Frost Queen's claim. Destiny makes his way over the top, and he's going to pick up the kill. Nice ignite, and man, that's so much burst damage. But you're right, the Baron now being started under half health, and Shelby, he's going to try and find his way in. He's going to get headbutted out again, not going to be able to get in time as the Baron goes down for the Hellions. Wild Growth just in time from Malaz as AV are looking to see whether they can get something done. Cookie is going to get slowed down, uses the repel, but it's not going to be enough. They're going to have to sacrifice their jungler, but they pick up the Baron.
AV's not done.
Yeah, there's the ultimate, and man, AV, their kills on a fleeing team, definitely something that they can look out for. That's all that she wrote, though.
They lose the Baron buff, but they only get 2 kills. This is the point where Hellions need to try and consolidate that fact. Ryu, Cookie, and Denian are down, so between Frey and Bomb, they actually have to stay in the same lane, and it's very difficult for them to split push with the Baron. Avant, you would have to give them a small victory, all things considered.
Yep.
But the gold is so close at the moment. 29 minutes in this game. I feel like my predictions are starting to come true with the Lux binding on the Bomb.
Yeah, very true.
6 fights.
He doesn't have a QSS or anything. We saw him pick up that, well, we saw Corkies, of course, picking up more of Malmortius so many times there in the mid lane, but not happening this time. He's just gone straight for that Infinity Edge. So yeah, not as much respect.
Of course, he had a very inefficient item build by going for the rapid fire cannon whilst having components of Infinity Edge.
Yeah.
Needed to finish them to be slot efficient, and as such will not get a QSS for a while.
Or a Hex Drinker, as Destiny is going to find Ryu. Slows him down with the Frost Queen's claim, but not going to find too much more. Ryu looking to actually go aggressive now with the support player. Hellions just setting up here on the top side.
Hellions, they've established their base of operations. And that's the Avant-Garde blue side jungle.
As Shelby going aggressive under Ryu. He gets slowed down. That Ghost Blade is going to be enough, as now the Baron up minions pushing here in the mid lane. And another problem that Frostgrin raised, the fact that magic damage not as strong against these Baroned up creeps. So the wave clear of Wrecked, not as powerful, but base hasn't been broken yet. And 5 members strong pushing up the mid lane now, as Magical Journey going to get followed here by Destiny. AV pushing forward, Dragon going to fall in favor of Hellions. They're going to sacrifice this inner turret in the top lane. AV just saying, we're going to shove up mid, and we want you to stop it.
Yeah. AV, they've made a decision. Hellions, they're going to continue to split push. They managed to get that turret.
Denian looking for the flank play. The culling comes through. Rex is going to tank that one up as Denian not going to quite find it. Pulverize comes in towards the very end, and Frey going to get caught by that Tempered Fate. Denian now with the ultimate down. And
Ryu's behind.
Yeah, space getting controlled here by the Lucid Singularity, but Ryu just gets destroyed. Destiny locks down the kill. And now the final spark comes in. Bomb gets caught out. A massive knock-up, though, from Denian as he gets the re-engage, and it's a double kill immediately from Bomb, who's just going nuts. Triple kill. Make that a quadra, as one of them was taken away from Frey, and Hellions turn it all around and grab an ace.
Bomb just goes off in that fight. Denian re-engages, and Frey was able to effectively put down damage from the back end, even with Ryu dying at the beginning of that fight and got absolutely blown up. The rest of Hellions play hyper-aggressively with the complete control of the team fight and confidence to know that they can win these team fights. Bomb, I've never seen someone use Valkyrie and Flash so aggressively to put damage onto a Bard,
Apart from his support.
in my entire life.
Well, they are pushing through. Seeing whether Hellions can actually finish the game right now. They do have a heck of a lot of damage with Bomb and Frey, and this Nexus is well and truly dead. Hellions from behind. Oh, well, Tempered Fate is going to change that one for a couple of seconds, but no, Hellions dropping game number 1, but pull it all back together in the last 2 games, cementing their spot in the top 4 of the OPL.
Absolutely. It's hard to fault Hellions. They have struggling laning phases of Avant, and they just put themselves behind no matter how well they want to execute the team composition. Hellions just come straight back through. They out-team fight them, and as such, they go up 2-1.
Yeah, and Avant, unfortunately, just unable to quite make it happen with their different team comp. But I really want to hear what our analysts have to say one more time, thank you, Spawn. And so we're going to throw it over to them.
No, thank you, Atlas. But that was an amazing, I guess, weird back and forth game there. In the end, it will be the Hellions taking it 2-1 against Avant. But let's talk about Avant. Let's talk about Destiny. That man's Bard. What the heck?
We knew his Bard was good. I'm surprised he hadn't played earlier. I mean,
Well, he's an AD carry.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Spawn. I think, apart from that little hiccup, I think his Alistar actually looked a little shaky in the first game, but Bard, a champion he's known for, he was a big Bard Thresh player. You can make plays on it. Avant needed something to help push them through kind of lackluster mid-games, and he was definitely doing work on the champion.
Yeah, it certainly looked to be the case. But once again, they're able to get these picks. They're able to generate a little bit of fighting around the Rift, but not really able to prioritize the parts of the Rift they should be attacking, Frost.
Yeah, but it wasn't just Avant this time around. Hellions also had a very questionable mid-game, and I really just want to talk about Hellions were really in control for a majority of point of that game, and then that's what you talk about kind of the back and forth. There was a point where Quinn was pressuring bottom, and Corki Bomb actually went down there, and they tried to pick up Lulu, but Lulu was able to disengage, and they lost so much momentum off of that because then Avant, I always want to say Avant was able to collapse down on them, and they lost all their momentum. In that scenario, if they had just warded in between the mid and bot lane, had Ryu on Quinn pressuring, and then pressured the mid lane simultaneously, and then tried to catch people as they wandered through the jungle, it would have been so much more effective, but struggling.
Yeah, I feel like Heart's definitely in the right place there, but execution's maybe a little lacking for Hellions. I mean, Avant had their mid-game stumbles as well. You can see what type of comp they're successful with when they can fight. But Hellions, they kind of had like backup gangplank because they needed a split pusher in Quinn, but not as clean. You don't have the same global pressure, and it definitely showed there.
Yeah, it certainly looked like as long as both teams were in the lanes, they were able to fight relatively well, especially wrecked on that Lux. But as soon as it went to jungle, around the river, these neutral objectives got a little bit shakier.
It just comes to this idea of why are you even in the lane phase? Like, you don't go to the lane phase because there's just a rule in League of Legends that says I must be in the lane phase now. You're there because it's the most effective and efficient way to acquire gold through CSing on the creeps. If you know that you can get gold faster by roaming around the map, by making plays like we saw the Bard making plays around the map, there's no real reason to be in the lane phase. And it's like once teams lose that structure and the first tier towers go down, everything falls apart. Identify your objectives, figure out where the next point is to get the easiest amount of gold, and just go for it.
But credit where credit's due. Once everyone had their gold, Hellions able to pull together in a huge team fight. This is a team that has kind of shied away from team fighting. In the end, that's how they close out the game.
Yeah, there's been some weird Hellions games where they've just straight up won 5v5s late into the game and almost miraculously won a bunch of games. That was a very well executed last team fight. Denian went hero mode, even though Ryu effectively just dived in nonchalant and died for no reason there in the back end.
Got some
But
cooldowns out.
It truly did for the 2 AD carries. The other two in the triple AD carry comp, Lucian and Corgi, did so much work there.
Yeah, they certainly did. And in the end, that will mean that Hellions are able to pick up the 2-0. But we do have some more League of Legends for you to come tomorrow at 6 o'clock. It will be Infernums taking on Chiefs in our first doubleheader. 7 o'clock on Wednesday, it will be Sin versus Trident. But tomorrow, the second best of 3. It's the big one. It's the undefeated teams. It is for the OPL title to see whether Legacy can take it off champion Direwolves. As I said, that will be at 7 p.m. Australian Daylight Saving Time. So do not miss that one, guys. But that's all we have in store for you tonight. Hellions are able to take the 2-1. On behalf of myself and the entire production crew, I'll catch you tomorrow.